Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 70 of the Super Civil Servants Podcast. My name is Greg, and I stepped on a nail. It sucked. Let me tell you. I've been working on my shed for all summer long. I finally got the roof done. Haven't had an injury. I've done all this by myself. Couldn't believe it. I was so proud of myself. Got off the roof the other day after I put the last board on, and I was like, man, I wonder how dark it is inside there now. And it was nighttime, so I didn't. It was really dark. I had kind of a stupid question, so I walked in there and I was like, "Oh man, it's really dark in here." And as I was walking out, stepped on a nail. If it hadn't been for my shoe, it would have gone through my whole foot. But they're like bottom to top, so thank goodness for my shoe. But I did learn two things. One, clean up your nails. don't just leave them laying around. And two, apparently frogs, when they get on their back, can't turn over, which I know is odd. But I walked in the shed this morning and there was a frog turned on his back, and I was like, oh no, because I remembered yesterday walking into the shed that there was a frog that was kind of like jumping up the ramp to get into the shed, and I was like, oh, he can do what he wants to do, whatever, it's his world. And then I saw that same frog and he was on its back, and I was like, oh no, I hope that whenever I stepped the nail, because I jumped, I hope that I didn't land on him. And that's what I thought. I was like, oh no, I killed an innocent frog. But he was moving, like his arms or he or she, I'm not sure, arms and legs were moving. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I came back later after I went to the doctor and I had the x-rays and the tetanus shot and everything, and he was still laying there on his back. And I was like, oh no, maybe something's wrong with him. But he was moving, so I picked him up and I flipped him over and put him on his belly. And I walked away, did some yard work, not just some yard work, got some tables out of the yard and everything, cleaned up from the party. Came back, and there he was, like on his belly, but in a different spot. He had gone from the middle of the shed to the ramp. So he was moving, and I was like, okay, I didn't kill a frog. I felt better. So happy and sad story there. Bad foot, frog's alive.
Yeah.
I digress. Chased a
Boo
huge
for the nail, yay for the frog.
That's right. That's right. But we got the regulars with us tonight. You just heard her, Sarah. What's going on?
Hi, guys. Had a pretty long week. Had a very interesting week. I'm sure as everybody else in the world. But I was really excited today because I actually did something other than just work from home. So I took a shower this morning, put on work clothes, and did some work. So I was like, yay. Nice. It's the little things. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about the stuff that we have on deck tonight.
Pun intended.
But
on the lower deck tonight.
Yes. And so we got the decks and then girl power. So that's all I got to say.
Oh yeah, definitely want to talk about that. Yeah, I wasn't here last week, and so I didn't end up watching the penultimate episode. On Friday, like I normally do, Friday morning. So I didn't even watch it all week, and I ended up watching the penultimate and the finale last night together, back to back. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I can't wait to talk about it either. And you're right, Lower Decks is cool too. I had a really fun time watching that. I can't wait to talk about it either. We got some news too. But with us again, as always, one of our boys, co-host here, Mr. Balga. How you doing?
Doing good. Glad the week's over. We're still prepping. We got one more week before students come back to a hybrid environment. So I'll throw another, pun or whatever you want to call it, saying it's all hands on deck now.
Seems to be the running theme.
Hold on to your butts. That's right. They say in Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts and welcome to Thunderdome.
Yep. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm sure it's different in every area where they're trying to reopen schools and go into these new phases where they're bringing kids back. But me and my wife actually had a talk about it, and my oldest kid doesn't want to go back. She enjoys homeschool more, which if she's doing her grades okay and she's still learning the same things, I'm okay with that for now. If it goes back to regular school, I'm not doing the homeschooling. My youngest one wanted to go back to school, but it makes it difficult because I can't pick her up from school when we live out of district of where she's at. So I think we're deciding for right now to keep them in the homeschooling as long as they can continue to do what they want to do. But I do hope that very soon, well, not very soon, but soon, as soon as it can be, everything's back to normal at school. And I'll figure out the picking up and dropping off then when that happens, but I would much rather them be in school because I'm pretty sure y'all can teach them better than I can. Yeah.
Yes,
Pretty
absolutely.
sure. Not saying that I'm doing the teaching. There are teachers who are doing a great job online, but it's very difficult, for the kids and for them. It's just a complete change, and it's been insane to see what's been going on. But it's worked. We've made it work thanks to the hard work of people like Mr. Balga.
I said,
That's right.
No, it is my staff. It is my teachers. They are the ones who are doing it every single day. I just provide the support and the behind the scenes stuff to keep less work on their plates at that point. They have been rocking it out. I couldn't be more proud of them.
Yeah.
So,
and my kids' teachers have been absolutely fantastic. They've been just, it's been great, but my two need to go back. I don't care if it's 2 days a week or whatever. It's just, y'all got to go back. Get dressed, go back.
Yeah. Yeah, see, it's more difficult for me because when we moved, we left our kids in the district they were in, which is the next town over, because the schools are so much better. And because at that time my wife wasn't working and she could have picked them up and dropped them off. Now she's working; it's a little more difficult for her to be available to pick them up, and there's no bus ride out there. So we got to make a big decision when it does go back to regular school about what we're going to do. I don't want to move them to these schools that aren't as good, but I also know a lot of kids that go to that school and they're just fine. Like, they're smart, bright young kids. It's just, the programs of schools that I have offer, the teachers. It's the highest rated school in the area. I just, enjoy them being there. But, you got to deal with what you can deal with. We moved out of that city, so, price you got to pay, I suppose. Anyway, we've gone through a ton of squirrels just in the opening.
Welcome to School Talk on the Super Civil Servants Podcast.
That's how you know we're all parents here on the Super Civil Servants Podcast. That's right.
And what's interesting, we all three of us live in the same state, but yet each area is different.
Yeah.
So that's interesting as well. So.
All right. Well, before we get into the show, let me go ahead and do the plugs. And we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, which you can find. I noticed that we say 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, which is redundant, right? We always say that 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, and I'm like, that's like saying it twice.
Driving point home.
That's right. We are making sure they know it's here every day. We are here every day.
No, what's that day again?
That's right.
And the funny thing is, we should technically start with Sunday, not Monday, but whatever.
Right. Well, my week in my mind starts out Saturday, because that's when my work week starts out, is Saturday. That's what my work schedule. The week starts Saturday, so it's crazy. It's like converting metric to standard. Weird. But yeah, Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. You can check us out 7 days a week. Mondays, check out World's Finest True Believers with Mr. Balga here. He's got a fantastic show covering all kinds of comic book arcs from any publisher, and they have and I've had a really good time with this guy doing this show. Great listen, absolutely love it. Tuesdays, check out me and Mr. Bone. We do DC Alliance Podcast, where we cover anything and everything DC. There will be some stuff on here that we cover on there as well. We just go into it with a little more depth on DC Alliance Podcast. Wednesdays is Marvel Alliance Podcast with Mr. Snell and Chris here. They're our counterpart. They do pretty much the same thing we do. They just do it with the Marvel instead of DC. Thursdays is Katie's Day. You can check out Slice of Film. That's going bi-weekly, and I've got to say it's the sexiest of weeklies just for Nathan, because I know he wants me to say that. It's got to be in there.
It's part
of
the contract, actually.
Yeah. Well, he's not wrong. It definitely is the sexiest of weeklies, So, and she's on Slice of Film. She's covering a film of the guest choice. Sometimes it tends to be things she's never seen. Sometimes it's things the guest never seen. I'd never seen Princess Diaries. I almost said Bride. Is it Princess Bride? Princess Bride.
Princess Bride, yeah.
I'd never
you
seen
almost said it. You
all right, that's
it.
it. Princess Diaries next for you.
I've never seen Princess Bride. We did a live watch. Me and Sarah and Katie did a live watch a couple weeks ago. Put it up there. I think she just did Batman and Robin with Nathan. Dropped this week. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm so ready to hear what she has to say about that, because
she's got some hot takes at the end there.
Yeah, that's an interesting movie.
She's got some hot takes at the end.
But on the other part of the bi-weekly, there is Star Wars Alliance, which is very similar to DC Alliance or Marvel Alliance, just covering Star Wars. And Nathan joins her for that.
No!
Awesome time. Yep. That's
How
right.
about that?
I'm breaking it down Barney style. So, and I may be joining Star Wars Alliance this week. I'm not sure. I've had some interesting talks interesting things I've been reading lately, or listening to, I guess, that we're going to talk about here in a little while, or I at least want to mention a little bit. Fridays, check out superhero discussions with me and Mr. Bone again. We just finished Superman the Animated Series. Today we dropped our first Spider-Man the Animated Series episode. We're doing that by the season, not by the episode, like we did with Superman the Animated Series. So check that out. We're about to drop the next 4 seasons on Patreon. So if you're a Patreon subscriber, you'll be able to get to those early and ad-free. You can find Super Civil Servants here on Friday nights right now, just with us. It can range anywhere from 2 people to 8 people in the show, just depending on what we're talking about, people's availability. It's a fun time. We all get to relax and talk about everything we want to talk about on this show. Audio drops on Saturdays, and then of course Saturdays and Sundays you get the DC and Marvel Weird Science comic book rundown, where Jim's covering Basically stuff going on in the comic book world right now, like recent comics, kind of keeping up with the trades and everything happening at the moment. He's given me some good advice and stuff to read. I'm probably going to the comic book shop tomorrow because I have no podcast, and I think I'm definitely picking up the Ed Brubaker Daredevil he recommended for me. I'm already got on 3 Jokers.
Yes, goodness gracious.
Yeah, I told him the stuff I like to read. I was like, look, I like to read Venom. I like to read Batman. I like to read, Batman Damned, all that stuff. A little more darker, gritty stuff. And he was like, you should check out Brubaker's Daredevil read. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna pick that up tomorrow, and then of course I'm getting into Power Rangers soon. But yeah, check out Weird Science, DC, and Marvel Comics Sundays and Saturdays, and that wraps up our Geek Ultimate Alliance Network bevy of shows, as Travis likes to say. So, Chris, you want to tell them about our Patreon account? My daughter's knocking at the door.
Okay.
Sorry,
yes,
I
we
put you on the spot there.
On it. Yes, we got a Patreon. Yeah, $1. You like us, you love us. You want to show us a little bit of that, that'll be great. Thank you so much for that. And if you want to throw a little more shekels our way, we got a $5 tier. Get a couple of things. You get every episode that drops ad-free. You get early access to episodes, usually superhero discussions, World's Finest True Believers. They typically are recorded early, so you get to see those, or hear those early. And then you get some Patreon exclusive episodes. We got the Amalgam Chats. We've got top 10 list. And I think we're getting ready. I think the plan is Sunday to record our look back at the Batman Under the Red Hood in preparation for Batman Death in the Family that comes out this week on Blu-ray. So I hope I can be a part of that. I know it's good recording late, but Sunday is a little dicey sometimes for me. I just sometimes want downtime, but if it works out timing wise, I would love to be a part of it. I think I might still watch it just in preparation.
All right. Well, as always, the show will be better if you are there, of course. So you sprinkle a little Balgo on everything and make it a little better. It's like bacon. He's like the bacon of podcasting. Just throw a little Balgo on it and you're going to love it. So, but all right.
No way. I should take that.
Did I just compared you to bacon?
Mr. Lecter's calling. Mr. Lecter.
Oh, man. Well, all right. Well, I guess that's everything. We're going to go ahead and start getting into stuff we got to cover tonight. I think we're going to do save all the Jack Quaid stuff for the end of the night because it's very Jack Quaid heavy, probably the last half of the show.
Yes.
And then and we're going to cover some news here first. So, Mr. Balga, I'm going to talk to you about this first because you brought it up as something you want to talk about. I watched the trailer. I'm super excited. Tell me about Invincible.
It's amazing, and that's all you need to know.
No, it looks amazing.
No, this has been a long gestating, trying to bring Invincible to any sort of screen. It's a book written by Robert Kirkman. Many people know Robert Kirkman probably more now for Walking Dead, and that is also one of his works at that point. But Invincible is probably one of the best, if not the best, superhero comic of all time, in my opinion.
Wow.
It run. I can't remember how many years at that point, but it basically follows the main character Mark and his understanding of him. Big surprise, he gets powers, but his father is basically their world Superman at that point. He's called, and so, but lots of different twists and turns. It's a coming of age story at that point, learning to understand not only his powers but where his place is and what he needs to do. This has been Seth Rogen has and is still attached to this. They were trying to bring it to the big screen and just never kind of panned out. But now they've now made it into an animated movie, and Seth Rogen is playing Alan the Alien, which is a very key part of Mark's. We'll say his upbringing at that point.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And so it will cover the first 3 issues of the series. And a lot of huge stuff happens in that. And I love the trailer. It literally looks like they have taken Ryan Otley's art and put it onto the screen.
Yeah, I noticed whenever I watched the trailer, the art was very similar to Man of Tomorrow.
I could see that.
Not identical to it, yeah, but it was very similar. So
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But if you, eh, if you look at some of the pages with Invincible, the early issues, you can see they're at least paying homage to it at that point. Right. So this is very much going to be very adult focused animated show.
No, Alan Moore's not going to like it.
Well,
sorry.
There's a lot of things Alan Moore doesn't like these days.
Yeah,
or ever. But they did not pull any punches. It was an Image comic, so Image, it's creator owned. They get to do as they want. And this show, they are not literally. I mean, you could kind of already see at one point some guy's eyes getting ready to get popped out at one point. So
yeah, it had that anime kind of violence look to it. So
and again, I've not made it known that I'm not a huge fan of anime, but again, this is one that I'm good with because I think again it's very similar to Ryan Otley's art style. So, but exciting. We only know it's coming out next year, but the good thing is we know it's coming out. The voice cast is outstanding.
Yes, J.K. Simmons, right? Plays the father.
Yep, plays his father.
Sandra Oh's in it too, isn't she?
What's that? Yes, Sandra Oh. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
plays his mom. Oh gosh, the actor's name especially. He played in Walking Dead too.
I'll say it's not Jack Quaid, is it? Please tell me it's not Jack Quaid. That'd be crazy if it was. So.
I'm gonna have to look it up now because I just blanked on it. But Mark Hamill is in it as well.
Oh wow, okay. I think
Mr.
this is going to be a big deal, man. Because look, you had mentioned it to me a while back. Whenever you heard about the going into production.
The voice cast had come out. Stephen Yeun.
Okay.
He played one of the pivotal roles in the Walking Dead series. So you have J.K. Simmons, Seth Rogen, Sandra Oh, Mark Hamill, Zazie Beetz is in it. A lot of just names. I know names as faces, but it's a big cast.
Yeah. Well, I'm really interested to check it out because Robert Kirkman, I think he's a fantastic writer. I didn't read Walking Dead, was never really because I'm not a big zombie guy. But I watched the show recently. It was a really good show, and I guess it's based on the comics. I do read Oblivion Song, which is a Kirkman written story, and I think it's a great story. And Chris, just with you saying that it might be the best comic book you've ever read, or the best comic book character there is, from you especially, with that ton of books behind you, I've got to check it out. Sorry.
Well, it is. I say that in a sense. I know our friend Brent agrees with me on that. He's a huge fan of Invincible. That's what he did.
Yeah, I heard somebody else say that. Yep.
And that's what he did do on World's Finest True Believers at that point. But what makes Invincible good is the writing and the art, but the writing, like his journey is not. Yes, they are very tongue in cheek and acknowledge the superhero tropes throughout, but it's not done in a cliche way. They fully are self-aware of the superhero tropes that you just can't escape in order to do a superhero comic. But it's dealing with this. What do you do in these situations? Like you can have the fantastical ideas and elements, but let's kind of dig into that. And I keep on saying Ryan Otley. The original penciler is Corey Walker, but due to deadlines, not being met with deadlines, things like that, Corey Walker did step away from the book. He still had influence in the book, and he did come back occasionally to pencil work, but it got handed over to Ryan Otley, who was discovered by Kirkman on internet forums where he was posting his work, and this was his first gig.
Okay.
So obviously a big claim to fame, nice way to start it off. But I want to say something about what you said about Walking Dead. You're not being into zombies. That's one of the biggest misconceptions about Walking Dead is it's a zombie show.
After I watched it, I realized that. Yep, it's a drama.
Yes, right. Yeah, it's definitely just they're the back scene. So like you said, you kind of realize that and see that now. So,
oh yeah. So from what I'm taking of this is. Invincible is almost like a Superman meets the boys. Not as violent as the boys, not as clean cut as Superman.
I'd say it's pretty darn violent, but not as it's pretty violent.
Okay, well, yeah. I guess they're not going to give all the way in the trailer. So
no, they're not. But when they fight, they fight. We're not, we're not going to ask if you bleed. No, you will bleed.
I hear you. Yeah, definitely. It looks like it in the trailer. Yeah, I'm really excited for it, man. That was the first teaser trailer that came out for it, right? When is the release date?
Just 2021. We focus a lot in the trailer on Mark Grayson. It's him. You see him discovering his ability to fly. I mean, there's one of the characters in there I was really surprised that they showcased, not because it's anything, it was just you never know what they're going to do. It's either Monster Girl, the little girl that transforms into a monster. She plays a big part in this series, but she's introduced in the first 13. The thing I was talking to Brent offline about is what's going to always fascinate me, and it does even with the boys, is what are they going to do different from the comic? Because that's what I think makes a good show, when you're basing it and adapting it to the screen in any way, shape, or form. Because I've got the comic, I've read the comic, I've read it over and over again, so I know what beats should be coming. What I hope, and I'm very confident in, is that where they're going to deviate and the ideas of why they're going to deviate.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think that tends to be the success of any kind of comic book adaptation, is the balance they have between that. Because for fans who have read the books and stuff like that, there are certain, like you said, points they have to hit. You want to see this. And there are certain things they can deviate away from, but when they do deviate away from that, it needs to be done well. It needs to make sense. And I think that's that tipping point for whether true fans of the source material really enjoy it when it's done live action or animated, or can't stand it. I think Hush would be a good example of that.
Yeah,
I think Hush hit a lot of points from the comic, but it changed a lot of things as well, and it didn't fit right with a lot of people. Did
not know.
So
not a fan.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the animated, but yeah. Now when I've kind of recently started rereading, I'm just going back and starting to reread it in preparation. I don't know a full date, but J.K. Simmons playing Nolan Grayson / Omni-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I just hear his voice now all the time.
He opens up the trailer, which is so cool.
Does.
He's got that perfect voice, man, giving the speech to his son. He's throwing the baseball around the world. I was like, oh, man, this is
love that?
awesome.
That's a cool
right away.
sequence.
Yeah, really enjoy it.
I hope they do keep where he discovers his powers for the first time. Mark Grayson, I'll say right now, is that he's working at a restaurant and he's trying to throw the trash into the garbage can, and instead of making a trash can, it just goes whoosh. Yes, I have my powers. And eventually, like 5 issues later, the trash eventually falls back to Earth.
Nice. long as they keep that, the right.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was just there are certain things I want them to keep, but again, I'm not one of these gatekeeping. Oh, they didn't do,
Yeah.
Because again, as I've always said, if I don't like it, well, guess what? I've got all 12 Ultimate Edition hardbacks right there in my collection, where I can always go back to it.
There you go.
So, but yeah, very excited. Can't wait to see it. Happy it's finally a reality.
Yeah, and like I said, we don't have long for it. I mean, do you know where it's coming out at? It's Image Comics.
It's Amazon Prime.
Amazon
you
Prime?
Said?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have Amazon Prime, so I will definitely be watching that.
How do you have this? How do you know?
It looks interesting. I mean, I don't know that much about the comic, but just watching the trailer and just kind of like a little bit of research, just seeing kind of synopsis of the comic, it looks really fun.
Yeah.
Don't do too much, because within these episodes, there's going to be some good shock. So.
Well, like I said, I just wanted just like a general overall synopsis of who the characters were, that kind of thing. But it looks fun, because right now we're watching Ultimate Spider-Man, so.
Nice.
Another good show.
So I think it'll be fun.
So I'm trying to pull up these moved dates, but it looks like I am having trouble doing it, finding the
What are
actual.
you trying to find for DC?
Yeah. So we'll move on.
I've got those up.
You got those? Okay, cool. Well, let's. Y'all got anything else you want to say about Invincible?
I'm good. I'm just excited. That's all.
Yeah, very, very excited. I'm definitely going to be checking this out whenever it comes out. Now, this is a series, not a movie, right?
Yes, it is a series.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's even better. Awesome. Can't wait. Okay, cool. Well, let's go to the next one then. The next one is we talked about this on the DC Alliance podcast on Tuesday, because Mr. Snell kind of broke it to us in the chat room as it was going on, and that's when the news kind of dropped, is that DC has once again changed their scheduled release date for a lot of their movies.
Say it ain't so.
Yeah. COVID's hit, and folks, I'm at the point right now where anytime somebody tells me something's going to be released, if it's not television or animated, anything that's on the big screen, I'm just not believing it. Like, when it comes out, I'll see it. I'm not
You're
seeing
sure.
Wonder Woman.
You're
on
sure,
Christmas Day.
Jan.
Yeah.
Sure, Jan.
Yeah. So it's just, it sucks, but I'm finally at that point where when I see the sign out in the theater and I can go to the theater and see it, then I'll believe it's happening. So, but Chris, you said you had the dates up, so tell us the big news. What's going on with dates moving?
The one that is still holding the line firm is Wonder Woman 84 on Christmas Day. We all are just expecting that to eventually move, and it says, it's become, as Brent says, and it's hard to say, it's become the new Mutants. No one could have predicted a pandemic affecting this. Probably everyone's saying, God, we could have released it and we didn't, but there were reasons why they didn't release it. They wanted to line up the stars right and finish a few things here or there, but put it in the best possible position. And unfortunately, this is the result. So that's probably going to move. But our next movie after Wonder Woman, if it holds to Christmas Day, will be James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, August 6th, 2021. And then we've got another very long wait. The Batman has been pushed. That did not get announced, but that everyone was figuring when Dune got pushed, the movie Dune, and took over their October release date. We all knew the Batman the time was not going to, obviously that was going to be moved. So that's March 4th, 2022. So we now will be waiting 2 years for a little over, well, not fully 2 years, but basically a year and a half at long to wait for the Batman to come to the screen. The Flash is scheduled November 4th, 2022. Aquaman 2, December 16th, 2022. Shazam 2 is June 2nd, 2023. And what got pulled completely off the slate with no date, no release time is Black Adam. Mm-hmm. That got completely pulled. Not saying that it's not necessarily off the slate, because we got a huge rumor this week, huge casting rumor of joining the cast. That is still in production, but I think they're at the point right now where they're still in pre-production. They can easily slide that into somewhere because, unfortunate. I mean, we covered our the Marvel slate basically being moved back. Everything that was supposed to happen starting in May with Black Widow got basically moved to the next May and restarting.
So let me ask you, if things get better, let's just say in 3-4 months things are better, which I know is not going to be, but just hypothetically, do you think these dates move again? Do you think they can come back to a sooner date if things start to show they're progressing forward?
I think one of the biggest signs is what happened this week was Regal needs to reopen back up, and Regal Cinemas, Cinemark shutting down all theaters until next year in their line, the number 2 theater chain in America. That has to reopen back up. And yes, it's kind of one of those hand-in-hand things. The studio's going to release, they'll reopen back up. But after No Time to Die got pulled, and they're based out of the UK, you don't have James Bond in the UK, there's no point, for the rest of the season. That's their big money maker, and they're already suffering. So it's unfortunate that thousands of jobs are on the line, and if not done for right now, permanent furlough until further notice. Yeah. I think theaters have to have a thing. I know this past week or so, you had actors and producers, directors asking Congress to basically help bail out the theaters and keep them alive because of the importance. And, a lot of people were unfairly giving Patty Jenkins crud, thinking that comparing her, she's just like Nolan, she just wants her movie out there to make money. She was trying to say that she's trying to show the importance of theaters. Right. And it's not about her movie, it's about the importance of what theaters bring to people and what they can do. So, but I personally don't see us getting theaters back to where they were until it's going to be deep within 2021. I mean, I'm not talking early. I'm talking like a year from now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think realistically, even if there's like a cure or something like that, it's going to take time for things to get back to normal. Even if this is all figured out, if we got a system going, it's going to take time to get back to normal. So, Sarah, what do you think? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off every time Chris stopped talking. Give me some thoughts.
So, I mean, I pretty much agree with you guys too. I mean, it's this until we get back to some semblance of normalcy, which who knows when that may happen? Maybe next year, and maybe 2022. Who knows? But I mean, it is important to have our theaters. I mean, it's a great escape for a lot of people. I mean, yeah, some people you could watch a movie at home, video on demand, that kind of thing, but you just still don't have that same experience. Mm-hmm. And especially since people have been stuck at home for so long based on, the world closing in essence. I mean, people need an escape. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, and movies create jobs. I mean, you have all these other people. It's not just the actors. It's not directors. It's, you have all the, the people behind the scenes. I mean, like the stunt people, you have, all the grips. You have all these other people. I mean, this is their livelihood. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, right now it just sucks all around, obviously. I mean, because I really want to see. There's a lot of movies I really want to see. There's a lot of movies that everybody's been waiting to see. So, right now it's just kind of a wait and see game. And I think even if it did change, if there was a vaccine that came out, if things did happen, changed by the end of the year. I mean, the effects of that is like Chris was saying, I think it's going to be far into next year before you see any difference. Right. And you hate to be that negative about it, but I mean, you got to be realistic about it as well. So, and a lot of times, I think they're just kind of err on the side of just being cautious, to be honest with you, because, even with Batman, the Batman movie, they started shooting, and even with, Pattinson coming down with COVID, it's just one piece of the whole puzzle. If something's taken out, I mean, you can still do what you can, but the way it is now, if you have one person that is positive, it just affects the whole machination. So, yeah, I mean, right now I think everybody's just kind of erring on the side of caution, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. It really does, because everybody has all these expectations, and it is cool to know that, especially something like Invincible, something that's animated, that's something that you can really look forward to. Mm-hmm. Because I would suppose production wise, you don't really have to be in person, for an animated series. I'm just assuming that, versus a live action, that kind of thing. So at least we're getting something, but until there is some form of normalcy, I mean, this is our normal right now, and it sucks. Just sucks.
Well, throughout the history of humans and societies, there's always been certain releases for that have been acceptable for societies that help people get stuff out they normally couldn't. Sports and theater. Yeah. And those are the two things that, consistently throughout the history of man have always been there, because even if you're not playing a sport, watching it gives you that release, gives you that moment. I mean, the gladiator games, that's what that was. You couldn't go out and kill somebody, you couldn't go out and do this, but you couldn't go out and fight people, but being able
you can watch somebody do it.
Watch somebody else do it, exactly. It's just like football. It's just like, so we have sports backs, which helps out with that. I think that once we get theaters back, it's going to be a little different. Luckily, now we're in an age where if we didn't have the on-demand stuff we have now, the streaming stuff, television, if it was maybe just basic cable, or you went and bought a DVD and that was what you watched, or even a VHS, I'll go back that far, it would be different. But now with the technology we have, it definitely helps in that situation with entertainment, because entertainment is limitless. Like, it really is. I watched The Boys is on Amazon Prime, and it's the only show I watch on Amazon Prime, and I watched it last night. My wife came home and I was watching the last episode, and I was looking through it, and she was like, I've never looked at Amazon Prime, the original. I was like, you know what, me neither. So we flipped through all the originals, and we decided maybe that we'd start watching some Amazon Prime stuff, because we're always watching Netflix stuff, which is great. I love some Netflix original shows and some of the stuff they have on there, but there's so much more out there. Like, it's insane. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface on things you can watch.
And you never will.
You never will. Exactly. Exactly. And two, I wanted to ask y'all. So when theaters do begin to open back up, do you think there's going to be like a surge, like there's going to be this huge push, and they're like packed theaters every weekend here on out for the next few weeks, few months? People are going to want to get out and see these movies they haven't been able to see, even just go out and have the experience they haven't had to be able to have in the last year. Do you think that's going to happen? Like, are movies going to really start booming whenever they start opening back up?
I don't think. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Well, think about when the restaurants reopened. Even though it was like, 30% capacity. I mean, a lot of people are still hesitant to go out.
That's true. Yeah.
Until there's a vaccine that people feel confident in, you will not have the same amount of people. You will not have people that feel safe going into a closed, confined space with a huge crowd. It's not going to happen. And so to when theaters open back up into some sort of consistent idea, not full capacity, I'd say it's going to be deep within 2021, and it won't be until 2022 where we will see some sort of normalcy again. And I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just saying the people I trust and read, the individuals, the scientists, the analysts and things like that aren't fear mongering and things like that. And I'm not trying to fear monger. I'm just saying this is what is on the page right now. This is what they're seeing. Doesn't mean it can change, but and everything is devoted to trying to find something. But again, when it comes to this kind of stuff, you can't. Yes, we want a vaccine out there. We want to get it out there as fast as possible. The vaccines that have done it without the full backing of everything moving toward it has taken 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that, it's not about trusting one that can come up, but one that has only started development in the spring of this year, it's a lot to kind of wait and see at that point. If it happens, great. That's awesome. But history does not favor that happening, unfortunately.
Right. I think hasty decisions and moving forward without knowing the outcomes of what we're deciding has what's put us in the position we're in right now. So I think that's what we need to avoid. Is we need to have knowledge of what's going on and we don't need to make hasty decisions. Like, there's no point.
No.
We're here now. We've got to control things. Let's make the right decision. That way we do it right the first time.
Yeah, you can't be Homelander.
That's right. That's a good. There you go.
Very good. I like that. I see what you did there. But one thing to say along that line is, like, whenever one does come out and we start feeling, guess what? Not every vaccine is foolproof. I will equate it to, a flu vaccine. When you get vaccinated for the flu, and yes, this is science talk at Super Civil Servants podcast. It is for a strain that they are looking at numbers and saying, okay, they are predicting that this might be the strain. Guess what? Sometimes, in some years, they get it wrong. That strain does not take hold, and the vaccine that you have taken is not effective, and you get a higher people getting infected with the flu and dying from it at that point. So I'm not saying the COVID vaccine is going to be that way. I'm just saying that understand that vaccines, nothing is ever foolproof in this world. Even science can get as close as they can and doing it, but understand that whenever one does come out, there's going to be a whole bunch of different things. There may be some setbacks. Again, to your point, Greg, we have to give this time. Trust in the idea that everyone who's working towards this is going to do what they can to make sure this gets out, and realize the general public's probably not going to get access to this first.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah. So. Well, there is one thing in life that's foolproof, and that is that Batman will always find a way to be Superman.
Actually, there's two. The second one, the second one is food always tastes better when someone else is paying.
That's true. I like that one too. So there you got one. There's got to be more than that.
You always have a prime directive to follow.
Huh?
The prime directive.
Don't follow the prime directive. No one wants to follow that. Follow that. Never does.
All right, Mariner.
Yeah. I got that reference.
There you go. There's Captain America.
Yeah, I got that reference. That's awesome.
Understood that.
Oh, all right, cool. Well, you guys got anything else you want to say about these DC change dates? Anything about COVID? I mean, I added the COVID part on there so we could all kind of get our thoughts out about where we think it's going in the future, what we think's changing.
Well, it's
Hopefully hear
all
some
relevant. I
optimistic
mean,
stuff.
everything's in relation because one thing affects the other because that's just the anomaly that's just life right now. I mean, unfortunately, and I just will say it sucks.
Yeah. And here's at least a positive to look at. Even though, yes, we're having shutdowns. I mean, Jurassic Park Dominion got pushed till 2022, and they had to shut down for another 2 weeks at that point. The filming is starting to happen. They are trying to find ways and do things to make this continue on because, to your point, Sarah, thousands upon thousands of jobs are held up. And not saying these people, it's all about money making business, things like that, but they're still trying to get things started so that when we are back to a point where we can go into a theater, go and feel safe at that point, experience entertainment again, they're doing their best to be safe and to protect their people, but also put this stuff out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Well put, Mr. Balga. I like that. All right, folks, let's do some podcast magic here. So anybody watching us live, which I don't think there's anybody in the chat room live. What's going on? Why is there nobody in the chat room live? Y'all get in here. Check us out.
I blame Nathan. I blame Nathan for this.
Yeah. I blame Nathan too. It's a good reason. When he's not here, nobody checks it out live. But we'll do some podcast magic here. And since we are part of the Geek Golden Alliance Network, we need to take a quick commercial break. Help keep the wicks flickering, as Mr. Bone likes to say. So we'll be right back in just a moment, folks. Bear with us. All right. That's all I need is enough time to write down the time to take the break. And that's how we do it. So we are back. Let's go ahead and pound through the rest of the news. Chris, man, you're my news guy. You put a I
gotta pull it up.
Well, yeah, I got it pulled up. I can actually open it up. I got it pulled up right here.
Why don't you do this, man? Because I mean, yeah, we all love this idea of the story, but I know you have been begging and pleading for something like this to come to fruition.
Yeah, and I didn't know anything about it until I was looking through the chat we had, and you had put this in there just a few minutes before we went live. And it's Joe Manganiello and his Deathstroke take, which I was super excited for because I think this is just a great casting. I think it's a great role. We've seen him for just a brief moment on screen, and we've seen some concept art of it. And he's being asked about reshoots for the Justice League because originally he was supposed to be part of that, I believe. And his comments are, he says, if I was a part of it, it wouldn't be my place to announce that. That would be Zach's place. Whether or not it's happening is the answer that's below that is an answer below my NDA level. So he's not saying no, he's not in it, but he's also not saying yes. We haven't heard anything from Zack Snyder about it. But I do believe he was supposed to be in the original cut, which makes me believe there was already stuff filmed with him.
Yeah, he was in the original cut.
Okay. So even if there's not new footage with him, he's going to be in the new cut. And, Zach's got 4+ hours to fill out here. So, I mean, I'm sure we're going to see him. I hope that he got called back for a recap for reshoots. I hope they added him in there for something else because, as I was talking about with DC Alliance Podcast, we did your Would You Rather, and the Would You Rather was, would you rather see the Henry Cavill Superman in Man of Steel 2, or would you rather see Ben Affleck come back as the Batfleck? And I think that even though I love Batfleck, I would much rather see him come back on the small screen and do that 6-part miniseries Deathstroke thing he had in his original run and bring Joe Manganiello back. And I think it would be an amazing thing to watch. And then put Superman on the big screen. So hopefully we're going to get to see him here. Like I said, he's not saying anything yes or no the other way. I don't know if this would even be a story if somebody didn't ask him about it, because I don't know if, was it something, it's not something he brought up, it's something he was asked about, correct?
Yeah, he was asked.
Yeah, so it's that makes me think even more that this is nothing. Because somebody posed the question, of course he's got to answer some kind of way. He has another quote, he says, on my social media, I talked about how there was an original end credit sequence that was altered for the release of Justice League. Once Batman was canceled, they altered the scene. So here you go. But I wrote about that on my social media. There's the original scene that will be restored to what it was originally meant to be. Or to what it was originally, excuse me. So that means that the scene we saw at the end with him and Luthor, was not the original scene, and we're going to see what it was actually supposed to be, which will be fun. You know, Jesse Eisenberg's been very coy about the things with the movie. You know, I think that he even in an interview said he didn't even realize he was in the Justice League cut because he's never seen it. Which just
Jesse Eisenberg is very famous for never watching anything that he's in, so that's not surprising.
I get that. Travis does that with podcasts. He doesn't like to listen to podcasts he's in. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. Get that download. But
no, I barely listen to my stuff just because I got so many other podcasts to listen to. So why do I need to listen to myself anymore? So Fanboy Clay brought that up to me one day, and he says, "You do that, then you'll reduce your load." And he's not kidding.
Yeah, true. But yeah, man, you know, you brought this up right beforehand. I personally don't think that I think that if he was brought back for reshoots, we would have known about it. We heard about the other characters that were brought back. We didn't hear anything about him. I don't see why they would keep it a secret with him, and unless maybe they are working towards doing a mini series with him and Batfleck on HBO Max, which they very well could be doing. Fingers crossed, it'd be so great. But just in my mind right now, if he wasn't asked this question, this wouldn't be out there. So I don't think there's anything behind this, and I don't know if there's any validity to what's going on. I'm going to see him in the new Justice League, and I can't wait to see what it was originally supposed to be. If they give me more of it later, I'm down. So, Sarah, what you think?
I kind of have like the same feelings. I mean, it's, you know, it's either A, they're not showing their hand, or B, it's not really a real thing. So, you know, but I'm always one where I don't want to read too much into it. I mean, I do see blurbs about certain things, but then I kind of want to be surprised. Mm-hmm. So, you know, especially with Deathstroke, anything with him is just going to be, I'm like, just give me more, because that's just an awesome character.
Did you like?
So I really hope it's true. I really hope that he is in there. But, you know, it's, you know, some folks are coy, like you said, some folks are coy about things, or, you know, there could be some validity to it and there could not. I mean, it's kind of one of those things up in the air. And because, you know, there have been times where, you know, it is true and nobody really says yay or nay to the contrary. So I don't know. I'm just holding out all hopes. Yeah. Well, if you have no expectations, you won't get disappointed. So how about that?
That's the way I feel about the Panthers a lot of times. So, did you like Manganiello's take on it? There you go. I like the cup. I mean, we didn't get to see a whole lot of it, but we did get to see a lot of concept art. We got to see a lot of just the look of the character. What did you think about that? Were you excited for that? Because I know the previous one we had before that was Manu Bennett, and he crushed it. I like that. He crushed it. I love him as that character. You know, I knew Manu Bennett from God, I can't remember the name. Spartacus, before he had ever become, you know, he played Crixus in Spartacus. Loved him in that. And then when he was going to be Deathstroke, I was like, oh man, this is going to be awesome. I loved his look. I loved the way he, you know, portrayed the role. But I wasn't opposed to a new take on the role, especially with Joe Manganiello. I thought he did a great job. Who is the guy who played him in Titans? Does anybody know?
Oh, I can't think. I can see his face. I can't his name though.
He did a great job too. I really enjoyed that role. Like everybody I've seen play that role live action has done a really good job. They've had good castings for that. So.
Oh yeah, because whoever takes on that role, I mean, you can have a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah.
You can have a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a few different ways you can kind of take the evilness, or not the evilness, but just the way he portrays himself. You know. So. Chris, what do you think, man? Like I said, you brought this to my attention right before we got on the show. So,
the actor's name that played Deathstroke in Titans is Isai Morales.
Okay.
Isai Morales.
He did a great job.
Yes.
Like the look,
I mean,
too.
It's just nice that pretty much 9 times out of 10, anyone they've cast, either voice-wise or, you know, real life, has knocked it out of the park in their own way and brought something of their own take to the role. No, I mean, I'm like you. I you know, when we saw that concept, when we saw the video of him walking out as Deathstroke, that quote unquote leaked footage, which we all know is purposely leaked at that point, just the costume was just BA as all get out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But even what we got in Justice League, just seeing him walk out on the film, taking off his helmet, and seeing him with the eye patch and looking pretty comic accurate as we could get, you know, it was still, there's not much positives I can ever say about Justice League, but that was at least cool to see something of him instead of never being able to see anything of him.
Right.
Right.
He's definitely one of the coolest looking characters there is, man. Like, I would love to have that outfit. I would love to have that mask. Like, man, it's so cool. And you know what? Without him, you'd have no Deadpool. So, thank him for that. You'd have no Deadpool if it wasn't for Deathstroke. Just saying. Like, Marvel, that is, I know we always argue about back and forth about who came out with who first and who copied who. Marvel specifically said they made Wade Wilson to make fun of Slade Wilson. Like, specifically, they made that character just to have that dispute. So,
they also make fun. They also make fun of that on the Teen Titans show, the animated show.
Okay, so Teen Titans Go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my kids, I've grown out of that. My youngest one used to love that, but she's grown out of it. Doesn't really like it as much anymore. So I used to watch a lot more of it, just by proxy. But I guess I still could. I watch a lot of crazy stuff now anyway, so I guess.
I'll still watch it. If it's on, I'll still watch it.
It's a fun show.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a fun show. I guess I just don't seek it out anymore to watch. Is what it is.
Yeah.
So
there's so much other things you can watch.
God, you ain't even kidding, man. There's a lot of stuff to watch. But
almost like you should have a show dedicated to animated shows you should watch.
I know, and like do it every
that?
Friday morning or something like that. Like, that'd be crazy.
Just watch animated shows and just not do just things that you've never seen before. It sounds like a good idea.
And just watch animated shows and review them. As a matter of fact, fans, let's go ahead and do that.
Quit your job after pandemic. I wouldn't say do that now.
No, well, that's all about the fans, man. Fans, just share with your friends. Make us famous so that way we don't have to work anymore. And this will be what we do every day, all day. I'll do it in front of the microphone all day, every day.
Wants to be an influencer.
That's right. That's right. I'll do it. All right. Well, that was some brief news we had there. Like I said, I didn't get a big chance to read over a whole ton of it. But I wanted to bring it up, and we're going to go into more depth with it on DC Alliance on Tuesday, because I'm sure a little more will come out about it, and we'll have a little more better understanding of what's going on. Even though it really wasn't anything, it was just him answering a question, about what somebody said. But all right, let's move on to the last little news topic here, and then we'll start our Jack Quaid love tribute for the night. Greg Berlanti's Green Lantern had some announcements today. What was it? Release dates. Had a couple casting calls. We know what Lantern we're getting now. There's a lot of stuff out there. It's Lantern, so I'm definitely interested in checking out the show. It's on HBO Max, correct?
Correct.
This
was one of the first ones they put out there of when HBO Max was coming to be.
Okay. So that makes me more excited for it, because I think if anybody's going to do it proper, I think HBO Max is definitely somebody I'm not afraid they're going to do it right. So Greg Berlanti's done a good job with his previous superhero takes in television
Small
series.
success.
Yeah, very, very, very successful. So, I have faith this is going to be really good. Let's see, who was the guy they ended up? It wasn't Kyle Rayner. It was Guy Gardner, correct?
Yeah, the at least the initial lineup of and they did say that this would be a show that others would be present, but our main ones for right now are Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, Sinestro Kilowog, and Alan Scott. And it will span millennia and galaxies.
I like that. Yeah, the Alan Scott thing I actually didn't even know about. That's crazy. So
excuse me, decades in galaxies.
Okay,
I'm getting ahead of myself.
A little different than millennia, I understand. But
yeah.
But that's pretty cool, man. I like the fact they're going to have Jessica Cruz on there. It does suck. I know we were talking about earlier. No Jon Stewart. No Kyle Rayner. I think we talked about it before. This obviously means they're saving Hal for the big screen. You think, or maybe they're saving all three of those for the big screen.
I think they're saving. I think they're saving any combination of those three to the big screen. I think doesn't say that they will never be on the show. But the thing about the Green Lantern Corps series in the comics was that you can have the Lanterns, again, they span galaxies, things like that. You can have these characters have their moments, have their shine, but these are some of the, this is a very eclectic casting, and I'm glad, like you said, Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, very happy they're a part of this. Very, very happy.
Well, I love Hal Jordan, but it is going to be nice to get a different take, on the character. And I think that, I don't think Green Lantern is a character that the general audience is familiar with. I know I have this debate all the time with people who are, talk about MCU and which characters were famous with the general audience or at least known, this and that. I don't think Green Lantern.
Oh boy, here he goes again.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I think Green Lantern is somebody that, once again, I feel like they're on that level with like Iron Man and Thor and Captain America. I think that if I went to somebody that's not a comic book reader and I was like, "You ever heard of Green Lantern?" They'd be like, "Yeah, I know, I've heard of them." The same way they would Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, everything else. But they wouldn't know the complete backstory of them. They wouldn't know anything about them. They wouldn't know, But I think saying they're unknown is different. Now, knowing which Lantern you're talking about, Jordan or Rayner or Alan Scott, any of those, that would be something that general audience wouldn't know, I'm sure. But I think knowing the character, mainly because Ryan Reynolds, I think a lot of it has to do with Ryan Reynolds playing that character before. Very famous actor, people love his movies. I love that movie,
yeah. And I think with this grouping, I mean, you look at each one of them brings something different. Even Kilowog has been confirmed to be a part of this. The series will finish Kilowog because you can't have a Green Lantern core series without Kilowog. But I mean,
I'd rather have Tomar-Re, to be honest with you.
Doesn't say you can't have Tomar-Re. They just called out Kilowog at that point. Still have Tomar. But I mean, Jessica, the idea of a lantern that has, fear, like legit debilitating fear at that point, and the amount of what she has to overcome. Simon Baz and how he gets the ring, in the comics at that point, coming a Muslim American at that point, what he brings in. Guy Gardner, the biggest D-bag you could probably ever think about in the DC universe. However, he was supposed to get the ring, not Hal. And that's always been a chip on his shoulder. So he brings something different to screen. And you got Sinestro, who, we see the movie, we kind of know his future and what he's going to be doing, but kind of the established guard of kind of the modern Lanterns. But I thought was interesting is Alan Scott being a part of this, because Alan Scott, his Green Lantern is not necessarily, his powers do not necessarily come from Oa. They don't come from. The ring is made out of the ring and the lantern were made out of a meteorite at that point. And so, and his weakness, it's always humorous, is wood.
Right?
Wood. But it's very interesting, and they particularly called out because in the recent Earth 2 take, it was Alan Scott is gay, and they particularly called that out, that he is a gay man, and they're going to be honoring that tradition as well, that they've established in the last 10 years with Alan Scott. But it will be very interesting to see how he fits into this, because again, in the comics, he's never been the Green Lantern Corps. He took on the name Green Lantern in the Golden Age, but it had nothing to do with what we know more typically as the Green Lanterns.
Right.
So,
well, it's going to be real interesting for me because Alan Scott supposedly is going to have an appearance in the next season of Stargirl, correct? Or at least we're expecting that. We've seen the Lantern.
I want it desperately.
So it'll be interesting. It's definitely a different take on the character. Well, not a different take on the character. I guess every new Green Lantern is a different take on the character. He's the original take on the character. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting. I wonder with DC and their multiverse if that's just crazily enough going to tie in. What if they introduce an Alan Scott in Stargirl on the DC CW, and then they have the Alan Scott on, the Green Lantern Berlanti show on HBO Max, and it happens to be the same Alan Scott, and then they tie things together. Because we're always talking about them tying things together.
Yeah.
And there's a possibility. I mean, Berlanti, Stargirl is a Berlanti show, correct?
Yep, and unfortunately, an executive producer that is listed on this is Jeff Johns. He wasn't originally called out, but I'm on the DC press release, and he is called out as one of the executive producers. So,
well, that could just be a title, like just a name on the thing.
I have a feeling it's more than just a title for him, considering that his Green Lantern run is again, no one can deny, and I can't deny it was something to be in awe of, bringing back a character like he did at that point. Again, he hit news and everything. He's an awful human being. I told Greg offline that saying basically after 3 Jokers, I'm done with buying anything Jeff Johns related at that point, just because I can't support something like that. You
I
know,
understand.
But it's, again, I was saying, well, you're going to be watching the show, and it's just like, yeah, I certain things, call me a hypocrite, I guess, at that point. I'm sorry. But,
Right.
certain things that we've got to do at that point. But it's hard. It makes it very hard for me to keep that in the back of my mind while watching shows, because the same thing with Stargirl, I just need him gone.
I understand. And
There's plenty of people that can do this show right, and you don't need Jeff Johns.
I think only his knowledge and what he's done with Green Lantern is the only reason he's brought in like that. You're right. You can do it differently, and somebody can do a great job with it. I think the stuff that's going on with Johns, I'm willing to bet majority of people don't know anything about it. We only know what we're told.
You have no idea.
Yeah. But mainstream, have no idea what's going on, which is why it doesn't change and why it won't be affected, because they don't know about it. What most people know is, if they even know this, oh, he created the Arrowverse. Oh, he's done Stargirl. Oh, he's doing a Green Lantern. Okay, cool. He writes comics. Like, if you're even that in depth with it, I think that's what most people will see, and not the terrible, terrible stuff that's happened. So I don't think it's going to affect him very much, to be truly honest.
Well, particularly to your point, like, this is a Greg Greg Berlanti is. He is one of the main executive producers. Jeff is one of the executive producers. He is not the executive producer. And, the showrunner, Seth Graham-Smith and Mark Guggenheim, they're going to be, there are more names on here that I can get behind than, and unfortunately it's just, victim of circumstance. Maybe, again, Jeff will not have run, but I find it very hard to believe, considering, again, his run of Green Lantern is probably what they're going to be pulling a lot from.
Right. Well, just talking about it, do y'all have any casting ideas? We haven't heard any casting news. Now, we just heard the lineup of what's going to be there. Y'all got anybody you think would play a good role for any of those parts? I already said my Jessica Cruz. I think should be Felicity Jones. I also think she should be Spider-Woman. So I think she just fill a lot of roles, but I think she would play that role terrifically. Let's see, we're going with Guy Garner. Give Armie Hammer a chance, man. Like, why not? We're always talking about Armie Hammer being Batman. I think he would look like a good Guy Garner. I could see him in that crazy outfit that you sent me a picture of earlier, which, by the way, looked awesome. Really, really enjoyed it. The half white, half green kind of one. Really like that. You guys got any casting ideas, you think? Because, Kilowog, you just need a good voice. It's going to be CGI. You just need a good voice. Sinestro, give me that legacy casting we were talking about. Mark Strong.
Yes.
He is Sinestro. Give me that. I want it back. If you're going to take one thing from that movie, take that one right there. Like, that would be amazing. Of course, I would love Ryan Reynolds. But, whatever. So, what do y'all think? Any fan castings you got for this movie?
I haven't really thought that much about it, because,
it just came out. I've been thinking about this for a long time.
The only one I have, and it's not going to happen, is Diane Guerrero. She did the voice of Jessica Cruz in the animated movie, and she's even kind of put her name out there. But again, she's committed to Doom Patrol. Nothing says that she can't do both.
That's Crazy Jane, right?
Yes, Crazy Jane.
Yeah, she would do great.
She looks like Jessica. I'm fully confident. Obviously, again, I'm always big into actors and actresses that have range. Obviously, has a huge amount of range. And the fact that she does this, it's probably not going to happen. But I would like to see Jessica and Simon be two unknowns or up and comers.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
They need to be two, because that's how I guarantee you they in the timeline of the show, my prediction is they are going to be, as they should, the new lanterns on the scene that are the new recruits.
Yeah.
Guy is your, again, chip on his shoulder, has been around the block for a while, the know-it-all, the mouth. Then Batman's going to punch him in the face, as always. Sinestro is the star at the point. I think you can get a known actor for Alan Scott. I think that would be nice. I don't know who that is, but I think that you could probably get away with a known actor for Guy Gardner, a known actor for Sinestro, and a known actor for Alan Scott. But I think Simon and Jessica need to be up-and-comers or unknowns.
I like that logic. That's a really good idea. Because, I mean, if we're leaving the other three in the past, we're moving forward with somebody new in the future, and you could cast somebody young, they could play that role for years.
Mm-hmm.
I just would love to see something like that transfer to the big screen. Like, give me something on HBO Max with the Green Lantern show that I can see the same character transfer into the big screen. Like, that would be really awesome.
I think this is what they is a perfect opportunity for them to do. They never said no, but I think that this Green Lantern deserves a show that can continue on. This is a series, and it's going to be with the amount of CGI work they're saying. I mean, it's going to be the most expensive thing Berlanti's ever produced,
as it should be. It's going to be minus maybe some of Stargirl. It's going to be Flash too, I guess. It's going to be there's going to be more CGI in this than anything else. It's got to be. If you're going to make it look good, it's got to be have a lot of CGI, and it needs to be done well. Like, I don't want to see some Thor Ragnarok, Thor and Loki saying goodbye to Odin, terrible back screen. I don't want to see Superman's mustache in Justice League. I want to see some good CGI. That's right. I knocked both of them, so nobody get on to me. I knocked both franchises. I just want to see some good CGI, man. I want to see something well put together. I want to see a practical suit. Even though I personally didn't mind the animated suit, thought it looked good. Apparently, it's a big deal for everybody else. It could have been done better, but it was also it was a long time ago. It was done now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you look at the image I'm looking at right now with all the main cast in this one image. At that point, you don't need anything lit up on the suit outside of the lantern itself.
Right.
If you're going to do that, everything else, it's a quote unquote practical suit. The cool thing I've always liked about Guy Gardner's is like it's almost like a cool kind of Letterman's, almost like a flight / Letterman's jacket. At that point, that's why if you're going to cast someone for a Guy, they almost need to be built because again, he was a former football star,
Army Hammer.
So you build that up. That's who they're going to be looking for is a jock type of person. You have to get a jock to be Guy Gardner, and you have to believe that he is the biggest D-bag on there. However, when the chips are down, you want him on your side.
Right.
Like Hawk.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think it's different too because the take they did with Hal Jordan in the first Green Lantern movie, you can't make that suit practical because everybody in space, all the lanterns are wearing the exact same suit, and that was that suit that looks like the first suit that Jeff Johns had in his the 52 retake and everything else. Other lanterns have different looking suits, so there can be a more practical suit with different lanterns. But that suit was supposed to be a suit that was made out of pure energy. And what I always tell people is, find me a fabric that looks like it's made out of pure energy, and I'll concede this argument that suit was a bad idea. But you're not going to find it because it doesn't exist. So they had to go that way. I get it. People are going to get on to me about this. It's okay. I'll always defend Green Lantern. It's a great movie. Awesome game, too, by the way. Check it out. Really fun game.
Yeah.
But
the only thing that kind of concerns me at first is our showrunner at that point. Awesome thing. Co-wrote the Lego Batman movie, which is an awesome movie.
Yes.
But then did Pride and Prejudice, Zombies, and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
So you got a little bad, a little bit
good. You get 2 strikes.
But I mean, the Lego movie, Batman.
Knock them all out of the park.
Right.
Dark Shadows, directed by Tim Burton at that point. So I'm all, again, just like on Marvel Alliance, I trust in Feige. I trust in Warner Media and Greg Berlanti and Mark Guggenheim with their pedigree. They obviously have sign-off ability. They would not have put this basically tent pole, because it is going to be a tent pole for HBO Max.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
They know how important this is, and again, in a very expensive endeavor, in the hands of someone with, for most part, a 50-50 kind of record right now.
Right. All right. So last question for this Green Lantern stuff that I want to know from y'all is, we're getting the Snyder Cut. on HBO Max soon. We've got this Green Lantern coming out, which, by the way, hasn't been in Snyder's cut yet. We've only got 6 members so far. We haven't seen that 7th member yet. We don't know who it's going to be. And then we also have the possibility, and this is actually not even rumored. It's just something that I'm putting out there. I'm starting this rumor of the Affleck and Deathstroke miniseries on HBO Max. I'm willing this into existence. So I need to put my ring on, my Green Lantern ring, but minus that third one that I said, because that's just my own headcanon. I've heard talks of Justice League doing well and it possibly moving forward on HBO Max, like Snyder's vision of the Justice League moving forward on HBO Max, which I don't get how that's going to work with, Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa and possibly Henry Cavill on the big screen and being on HBO Max as well. I'd love it if it did work like that, but I don't see how it's going to. Do you think that this Green Lantern is going to cross over into Zack Snyder's Justice League if they give Zack Snyder's Justice League more leg room and more stories in the future? They continue that story. Do you think they'll cross this over into it?
I think Zack said it best. This is his own universe.
Okay.
This is his thing.
Okay. So,
if it continues on, it's his own DC universe. It's his own Elseworld. So.
Okay. So do you think there's the possibility that we still get the same Wonder Woman and same Aquaman, same Flash, same Batman in Snyder's universe as we do on the DCEU?
Depends on how they continue.
Okay. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Here's a fan casting I just kind of saw, and I can't believe it that they need to do this right now. Look up the actress Rosa Salazar. Excuse me, Rosa Salazar.
Rosa Salazar. Let's see.
Probably her biggest thing recently was playing Alita.
Alita. Okay.
Angel.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
I am on board with this. If I'm very much on board.
Yeah, I actually never saw
Rosa Salazar, Jessica Cruz. There we go.
Yeah, I could buy that.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I could definitely make that happen. Actually, you know what? I'll secede or just give up the Jessica or Felicity Jones as her because I'd rather see her Spider Woman. So yeah, there you go. I'll put my my backing behind that. I like her or Diane Guerrero. I think those are my two choices for Jessica Cruz. They're perfect. But she could definitely do it. Wow, the more I look at her, yeah, definitely I could see that. I'm trying to think of her with a Green Lantern suit on.
I'm already there. What are you talking about? Thinking about it, I'm already there.
Interesting. It's just funny because I don't think I've ever looked at a picture of a woman online and tried to imagine her in a Green Lantern suit, which is that might be a first for me.
Oh, Nathan's saying so much right now when he hears this.
That might be a first for me right there. So, all right, cool. Well, check it out. Let's go ahead and take our last break right here. That way we can walk the whole Jack Quaid portion of the show will be uninterrupted. So let's go ahead and take our last little break right here. Folks, we're going to be right back. Podcast magic. If you're watching, you see how it happens. If not, you get to hear it. But we'll be right back after this quick break. All right, so we're back. And here we go. We're done with the news. We are going into stuff that we watch now, which is always a way more fun thing to talk. Well, not way more fun thing to talk about, but I think we can all talk about it a little more because the news is out there. You don't know what to believe. What you see in front of your face is just your opinion. And Sarah, you have always been my Star Trek girl. Since I've started going on with this, you've been the most avid Star Trek fan that I know of all this stuff. I'm trying to bring more Star Trek into the show. You suggested Lower Decks to me a few weeks ago, and I kind of asked about what it was. I didn't know what kind of comedy or what kind of cartoon we were going to be getting into right here. I only watched the first 5 episodes, but I absolutely loved it. And I'm going to watch the last 5 episodes because it's 10 episode series for the first season, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to watch the last 5 episodes before the weekend's over because I really, really was like into it. But I'm going to start you off with this one. 2 reasons. One, because you are an awesome Star Trek female, and I love hearing your opinions on it. 2, my dog is scratching the door. I got to go let him out. So get us started on Lower Decks.
He is using this as saying, hey, you talk about it, I got to take care of stuff.
I'll be right back. It is a CBS All Access show. Well, CBS show. I watched it on CBS All Access. All about Star Trek. Get us going. I'll be right back.
Yes. Well, I must thank Mr. Balga for this one because I really wasn't excited about it when I first heard about it. Because animated shows, I don't know. When it comes to Star Trek, I mean, I'm all about the live action. But this show, oh my gosh, I love it. Absolutely love it. And it's filled with so many Easter eggs. It's like an Easter hunt every episode. It's like from the original series, from Next Generation. There's even something from Enterprise. I mean, there's Voyager. I mean, you've got it all. It's fantastic. I think one of the things every time I watch it, when I see the opening scene, when you see the ships, or the Cerritos going through, I guess, the galaxy or whatnot, like the very first opening scene, you see these meteors, and the meteors are hitting the ship, you know, because that's not something that you normally see. Everything's normally perfect, and they're going through space, and everything's just all fantastic. The other scene I love is when they come up to the Borg cube, and there's other ships firing on it, and they get fired on one time. They turn around and warp out and are like, nope, this is not about to happen. But I think I just love the humor behind it because it doesn't really take itself serious. You know, I'm sure Boimler would have a different view on that, but it's just really, I don't know, it's just really interesting, especially the fact that all 4 of our main characters are literally lower deck folks. I mean, they really are. Yeah, I mean, was it Boimler's an ensign? I think they're all ensigns, aren't they?
I believe so, yeah.
So, but each one has their own personalities. I think it's really interesting that Tendy's a Orion, because normally the Orions are a little more, piratical? And she's just so like, oh my God, everything's great. Oh, I love it. Oh, we're going to be best friends. Oh my God, this is great.
It's a dog.
She flies. Oh my God, it's great. Yeah, I love her enthusiasm. Even when the first time you meet her, when she walks on board the Cerritos, she's just like, oh my God, this is fantastic. But I think each character has their own role to play within their little organism of friendship. Rutherford, he's a really fun one too, because especially his cybernetic, he's not quite Data, but he's not quite, I don't know. I don't even know how I would, it's almost like a cross between Data and Geordi if they were like 20 years younger.
Yeah, I think that was the point of the character.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's just, and then with Captain Freeman, I mean, obviously she's kind of taken on, she feels very Janeway. I feel like she feels more Janeway than she does Picard, because she cares more about her crew. Not quite like a mother hen, but I mean, she eventually starts to see she's not really taking that hard ass route. And then of course you got Ransom, which is obviously that's Riker. I mean, obviously. I mean, if it but
I love that Jerry O'Connell plays him.
And I love how the doctor, she's feline. I mean, I think that's great, and she's a really feisty one too. And I love how their chief of security is he's a Bajoran, which he basically is. That's the thing about Bajorans. They're kind of funny, especially when you have Kira from DS9. She's very Worf-like herself. You know, very Klingon, because they're very tough. They're very material, or let's see, what am I trying to, it's just the security thing works for them. It's very military minded.
And I like that they very cliche, but it's hilarious every time he goes into action.
He just it's great. I mean, it's like I said, it's not really, I wouldn't call it a true parody, but it's more of a lighter side of it. But like I said, I think it's just for someone that's a true Trek fan, if you know all the different parts of the franchise, like I said, for each iteration, there's a little bit of something there because they kind of pull it all together, and this is canon. Especially when you get to Greg, when you finally get to the finale, you'll see kind of like the culmination of a lot of it too. So it's I don't know. I think it's great. I think it's refreshing. Now I've seen where some people are like, well, it's not serious. Well, you know what? That's the point. It's fine to have something that's a part of Star Trek that's not 100% serious.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always have to, fight the Borg and lose and all this kind of stuff. I mean, it doesn't always have to be a Kobayashi Maru type situation. I mean, you can have fun with it, and that's what's so great about the series is fun. Mariner, she's like the epitome of I am Starfleet, but I'm totally going to rebel against Starfleet.
I love her character. I love her character.
Great.
Yeah.
And even Boimler, I mean, he finally gets to a point where you're like, dude, all right, you're crazy. You're like just wound really tight, but he does ease up a little bit, and he's turns out to be kind of cool too. So,
well, it's interesting. We've got you and I that are big Star Trek fans. At that point, we appreciate and we get a lot more out of this show than someone like Greg. But Greg, even though he's halfway through it, really says, and I'll speak for you, Greg, because I know you said it, like you've enjoyed what you have seen, even though you don't catch a lot of the references. And that's something that it's tough for a show to do, that to still be appealing to someone who doesn't have the background and still enjoy it. While for us, we get a lot more enjoyment and still can share a love for the show.
Yeah. Well, even me being a kind of a Star Trek virgin, I know small things about her. I've seen little things here and there. Like, I did notice some stuff, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I can see that's a callback to this. I can see it's a callback to this. Mm-hmm. The best thing about this show is I feel like the two main characters, and, I watched it again for the first time today. I can't remember their names.
Mariner and Boimler.
Yeah, okay. It feels like the way they're doing this show is those two characters are reading off different scripts when they're not talking with each other. Then when they're talking with each other, those two scripts have to coincide, and they have to work well together. And it's slapstick, real quick, witty comedy that just works really, really well. Like, there were a number of times where I'm watching this show today, and just a little real quick thing, just something that Mariner would say, and I just stop and just have to laugh and be like, oh my god, that's placed perfectly. I love that. That's great. That shows you how quirky this show is. I think in the first 5 minutes of episode 1, you realize what kind of show this is going to be, and you know almost immediately whether you're going to like it or not, because it's stupid funny. It really is. It's stupid funny, which it's not a bad thing. That works sometimes if you do it well. They do it really well in this show. I'm really enjoying it. I did not know that Jack Quaid played the main character, but now that I've been watching The Boys and hearing this, when I hear his voice, that's all I can see. I can just see him with the headphones on, doing the ADR for this. It's insane. But I love the cast. Like I said, I'm only through episode 5 because I tried to watch most of it today, but I've noticed one thing about CBS is they'll play the intro, right? Well, they'll play what happened last episode, then the intro, right? So the episodes are like 25 minutes long, right? So the first 6 minutes of the episode is what happened last episode and the intro. Well, maybe 6, maybe 4, okay? Then the last 4 minutes of the episode is what happens in the next episode. So realistically, the episodes are about 18, 19 minutes long, if that. But I found it kind of weird because I would notice that if I let it continue to play to the next one, I would watch the same scene twice because it would show the beginning of the next episode at the end of the last episode, which I don't really understand why it did that. Maybe it's their programming, the way they do their CBS All Access, but I found it very strange.
Yeah, their app is definitely not the best, and it has issues, and it's going to be rebranded within the year to Paramount Plus.
Okay, I mean that'd be cool, but But yeah, as a non-Star Trek fan, I don't want to say a non-Star Trek fan because everything I've ever seen of Star Trek, I've really enjoyed. And that's not saying a lot. I've seen some of the old shows. When I was younger, I've seen little bits and pieces here and there. My stepdad was very anti-Star Trek, totally pro-Star Wars, like it was a war thing. You couldn't like both of them. So growing up, I just never watched Star Trek because I couldn't like both of them, according to him. But the new Calvin timeline.
So one would call him a gatekeeper.
Very, very much so. Yes. But the new Calvin timeline stuff, this new Lower Decks. I'm very interested to see Discovery. I haven't watched Picard yet, but now I want to. Like this is a universe that is, I feel like, doesn't get the respect it deserves, and maybe because Star Wars is that good. I'm not trying to disrespect Star Wars; they're that good. But this is a really good universe, too. Like, really well fleshed out. It's got some great characters, some great stories, and things are not the same as they are in Star Wars. So you can have the same kind of story and still really enjoy it. So far, like I said, episode 5, hopefully by this weekend, I'm going to have the whole thing done. Do you know, are they renewed for a second season?
I personally haven't heard, but I think it's expected.
You think it's expected?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed it, and I feel like most people who probably watched it and have any kind of a liking for Star Trek would. If I'm somebody who didn't necessarily love it before, and I see this now, it's just a fun show. It's comedic. Mm-hmm. The fact that God, I don't know why these names are like I can't.
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah, Mariner. Her mother is the commander. I guess her father is the admiral. So you get that kind of backstory. I don't know if there's anything in the future with that plays into that. I know in like episode 4, I think it was like Moist Something was the name of the episode, which is a really weird name. Moist Something, like you see her mother connect or bond for like the first time. You've seen them do this. So maybe they're kind of progressing forward with that story, but I like the dynamic with her. And what's the guy's name? I can never pronounce it correctly. Even the commander can't pronounce. Huh?
Are you talking about Boimler or are you talking about Ransom?
Boimler, yes, that's his name.
Boimler, yes.
Very weird name.
Took me a while too.
Yeah, I like the contrast between those two because it is the yin and the yang. And he even says it, I think, in episode 3, I can't remember, where he's talking to her and he's like, you never study, you never do this, you never do that. Somehow you have, saved the day in every situation, this and that. And it just goes to show you that it's not always book smarts that get you what you got to do. Sometimes it's street smarts. She talks about how she's been around. Apparently, she's been demoted. She was on a bigger ship with more responsibility. I don't know if in the next 5 episodes they go into that or not, but I'd like to hear more about that story. Okay, they do? Good. Then I'll hear more about that story. I'd like to see that. But yeah, Lower Decks, man, I did not expect to really be blown away by this. And I'm not saying I'm like blown away like, oh my God, you've got to see this. But I would recommend it. It's
enjoyable.
It's very enjoyable, yes. I mean, it's something that if you didn't see it, you'll be okay. But it's something you want to check out if you got the opportunity because it's a really, really enjoyable show. So
yeah, and I think the first couple of episodes were meh, and it kind of worried me a little bit. But I was one of these shows that a comedy, especially animated, especially who's doing it are people from Rick and Morty. It has a habit of changing. I've kind of seen this before. When is it going to take on its own shape instead of just being another Rick and Morty imitator? And it did. It eventually. So, what I tell people is you got to give it at least through three episodes at that point, and then it finds its footing at that point. So
I think it's funny you said that because I'm not a Rick and Morty fan, but that was the kind of the vibe I got from it. And I didn't realize at the time it's from the same people. But that was kind of the vibe I got. Like, I've seen Rick and Morty, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like Rick and Morty. So it makes sense. But really well done. I'm probably going to try to pound through a few more of those episodes tonight. I'll probably finish up tomorrow. But really, really enjoyed Lower Decks. And Star Trek is becoming a bigger part of my life now. And it very well should be. There may be a Enterprise hanging up from the wall down there for long on my Star Wars wall.
You gotta pick which one. Which one do you go with?
The one I'm most familiar with got to be the one in the
D, E, F, so on and so forth.
How about all of them? You know me.
Exactly.
You know me. And if there's any kind of helmet I can get,
Voyager is mine. That's my favorite. That's the one I hang on my Christmas tree every year.
Okay. Voyagers. And by the way, that leads us into some Star Trek talk. Voyager's coming out next week, you said?
Discovery.
I'm sorry, yes. Coming out next week?
Yep.
Yes.
And that is season 3?
Yes.
They are doing seasons 1 and 2 right now. I think you can binge them on CBS All Access or CBS if they're airing them to try to promote the show. That's something I want to check out. I think that would be a fun show to watch. You know, like I said, Star Trek has got some really cool concepts, and I need to give it a chance. I never knocked it in my life, but I've just never given it a chance until the new Calvin Timeline stuff. I was super impressed with that. Yeah, it's time for me to open my heart to Star Trek.
Well, now they have another animated series coming out. What is it? The Star Trek Prodigy that's bringing back Kate Mulgrew as Janeway.
I think Nickelodeon's doing it.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty cool premise too, because it's basically. Let's see if I can remember what I read. It's basically this kind of a crew. Sounds like a bunch of mariners that take over a ship, and basically their little escapades throughout the galaxy, and you know how they kind of. I don't know if they really take the Prime Directive and all that kind of stuff into consideration, but like I said, I just kind of glossed through it. But I mean, I know there's going to be more to come of this series, but that sounds like another interesting one. But the fact that Kate Mulgrew is coming back as Captain Janeway, that's a really big thing. That's really big. Yeah. To have her back into any kind of Star Trek franchise or product, it's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that one too.
Fangirling out over there. I hear that. Good deal.
Yes.
Oh. Well, you guys got anything else you want to say about Lower Decks? I know that I'm going to continue to watch it. Whenever I get done, I'll probably talk to y'all about it and, you know, maybe bring up something on here about it. But we're going to continue with our Star Trek coverage. I know Discovery, right? I'm saying that right? We're going to talk about some Discovery pretty soon. Our next movie series we're covering is the new Calvin Timeline movie. So Star Trek is going to be a big part of this show, at least for the next few months, as it should be, because those movies are amazing. The show is really fun, having a good time. Star Trek it out. Do you call them Trekkies? Is that what you say?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trekkies. Okay. I could be a half Trekkie. I could be a Trek.
And it's okay. You can like Star Trek and Star Wars. You can love them both.
I don't know. I think that once I start doing this, I've got to stop watching Star Wars. Like,
no,
right.
You cannot.
No,
you may not.
You definitely
cannot.
You definitely can. All right. Well, let's wrap that one up. We'll get to our main event. But before we get to our main event, there is a comment in the chat that I have to bring up that I forgot to bring up earlier, but I'm going to talk a little shit here. Travis Snell came into our chat room and said, we were talking about the only true things in life, and he said the other true thing in life is that Geekverse will beat you guys on November 7th.
Did he spell it? Did he spell it right and put it grammatically correct? Because he has trouble doing that, apparently.
No, I didn't. So for everybody who doesn't know what he's talking about, November 7th, the Geekverse Alliance or Geekverse Podcast Network and the Super Civil Servants are going head to head for their charity event on a trivia challenge. Now, I'm not talking trash, but I am talking trash. We're going to beat the brakes off them. Okay? Not only do we do trivia on Super Civil Servants, and I've watched Geekverse for at least 3.5, 4 years, never seen them do a trivia game. I make these trivia games, which means the questions that make the cuts are not all that I look up and know. So if I have 35, 40 questions, guess what? I looked up 70 for that show. So we are not going to lose to the Geekverse Network, okay? America, we're going to represent right here. Geek Ultimate Alliance. Super Civil Servants is going to beat the brakes off Geekverse Podcast. I don't know if you're still in the chat room. If you are, please respond to me, Mr. Snell. But there's no chance that Geekverse is going to beat Super Civil Servants. It's not going to happen. You guys with me? Like, it's not happening.
Of course.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we have trivia champions on this team. Now, of course, it's all for charity. We are. They're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream. I'm not sure if it's the exact same day as the 7th. They're going to be doing a 24-hour live stream, which I've participated in every year. It's a great live stream they do for Brenner's Children's Hospital. If you get a chance, go check them out. They'll be there 24 hours. You can donate anytime. I think that you can donate before and after if you want to. I highly recommend doing it.
And we have some collaborators on that have been on Super Civil Servants and fans of that we have been fans of that are going to be doing the asking of the trivia questions.
Yes, which is going to be even more interesting because a couple of these people I've never actually podcasted with.
You're in for a treat.
I've been fans with them. I've been, communication with them and fans with them, listened to them, followed them, this and that, but never actually spoken with them. So it's going to be really interesting, and I'm not going to announce everybody who's on there yet. You guys will find out. You got to come check it out. Come check it out. Watch Super Civil Servants beat the brakes off of Geekverse Podcast. It's going to be fun. I'm predicting like a Game 1 NBA Finals game where we beat them by like 75 points. Just saying. It's going to happen.
Is it Jordan beating them?
No. Jordan never beat anybody like LeBron did in Game 1 of the series, but that's semantics. We'll talk about that later. Anyway, but fun stuff. Y'all check it out. Like I said, November 7th, Geekverse Podcast Network versus the Super Civil Servants. It's going to be carnage.
Let there be carnage.
It's going to be fun. Let there be carnage. That's right. All right. Well, let's go ahead.
As Travis listens, he'll throw up a little bit at his mouth at that title.
He'll definitely put that Woody Harrelson gif in the group chat. So, but all right. Well, let's talk about what everybody's here for. Anybody listening, this is what they wanted to hear. We are talking about The Boys season 2 finale. Man, I can't say enough good stuff about this show. Unfortunately, I wasn't here last weekend, but you guys held it down perfectly. Amazing show. Loved listening to it. I didn't get a chance to watch the penultimate episode until last night. I actually kind of saved it for that, to watch the penultimate and the finale in the same sitting, so it was like a 2-hour movie. Blown away. Travis was mad at me that I didn't message him when I got done watching it, but I got done watching it at like 2 o'clock in the morning my time, which is like...
Is that the reason why?
Oh, look at that.
Is that the reason why? I've been here for like 10 minutes waving around.
Have you?
You're not waving. I didn't see you on screen.
I didn't see you on screen either, yeah.
Sarah, back me up, Sarah. I was waving, being goofy.
Yeah, I saw you.
You've just shown up for the video
I
for the
waved
first
at
time for me, sir. Sneaky. But he was mad at me because I didn't text him and let him know what was going on, like my thoughts of it. But I told him, I was like, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning here. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning where you were at. I didn't want to message you that early, but he said
my phone's on vibrate anyway.
From now on, buddy. 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm sending you a message every day from now on.
Nathan used to do that when he was on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's true. We need to get Nathan back on Twitter. What's going on? Let's
never gonna
happen.
Y'all. Never gonna happen.
No.
What, 26 more days? And
Greg, I used to have a friend that you used to have to always beg him to play a sport. You used to have to beg him. He used to live for it. That's what he wanted, was you to beg him to come out and play. And then he would play, and I honestly, he would play anyway. I think he just wanted that. And nope, Nathan, come crawl back to Twitter whenever he will. And we will just make fun of him in the chat when he comes back for a minute or two, and then we'll just keep on going like nothing happens. This is a cycle that's happened numerous times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once Twitter gets too toxic, Nathan can't handle it, which I understand.
Oh yeah, but I don't think he blocks as many accounts as me. Like, I'm approaching 750 blocked accounts, so I'm sorry if you're saying nonsense or you're being toxic. You're done for me seeing my timeline is basically rainbows and puppies.
Nice, always good things. Rainbows and puppies.
Happy thoughts. That's
right. Well, T-Bone, man.
Besides, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said besides the boys nonsense.
Yeah. Well, let's talk the boys, man. You are first topic you're on for tonight, and happens to be the last. So let's get you started with it, man. Tell me about the boys. What did you think? How did it shape up for you, season 2? Were you disappointed? Were you excited? Do you still have the same love for the boys?
I have even more love for the boys, to be honest with you, Greg. Like, the way they did all the character arcs in this season and how they progressed and how they were told. And then looking back at some things now, like the Congresswoman, I didn't notice this before, but looking back, every time she spoke, the VAT guy, Edgar, was watching her every time. And then if you listen to some of the stuff she actually said, and you go back and think of it now that she's with VAT, or in VAT's pocket, it all sounds a little bit more like it's like the game that they're playing, basically. Mm-hmm. So, and that was only put into effect because at the end of the finale, Edgar says you got to play the cards that you're dealt, because he didn't want Compound V to go out to everybody, and because of this whole thing, that's on hold now. So you just think about everything. She was put in motion because of what Homelander did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the story's really well put together. I got to ask y'all, we're going full spoilers here, just so everybody knows. We discussed this a little bit beforehand. Did y'all have any idea about the Congresswoman or the
No.
Nope.
Blowing heads up?
Like I said last week, I thought it was the escaped that they wanted to be a super terrorist at that point, because she had the same power set, and it was definitely plausible. She is still out there, so I have a very strong suspicion we're going to be seeing her again next season.
Yeah.
Well, similar power set, because she uses her fist, whereas the Congresswoman got to stare at somebody to
Yeah. True,
well,
but
Cindy took out the whole body, whereas the Congresswoman, she just did pop.
Yeah, and Cindy close up whole buildings and that. So it seems like she had more of a gravitational thing. But and then you look back at that scene in the courthouse, and I rewatched that after watching that today, and every person's head explodes she stared at.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is after I watched that, I noticed that there were multiple times they tried to pull her out of that room. And she fell or something where she stayed in, and more people's heads got blown up. And that makes so much more sense now that we know that's the reason why. Like, she didn't want to leave that room. The
main thing for me, too, was Butcher and Homelander's story arcs. And at the end of the whole thing,
Not you,
it looked like Butcher was going to give up the kid to get everything that he ever wanted. Mm-hmm. And instead, Homelander gives up the kid to get everything he ever wanted, and Butcher's willing to sacrifice himself for the kid. So it's just the way they told that, because from the beginning, remember, Butcher called him a soup freak and all this stuff, and wanted to get Becca away from him, and then to see the progression, because you thought even when he grabbed the crowbar when he was angry after she died, that you thought he might go at him, but that wasn't the case at all, and it just Butcher from season 1 might not do that. Butcher from season 1 might actually just destroy the kid.
Well, I think Starlight even mentions that later. She was like, if we live in a world where, Butcher can do the right thing, then, maybe you have to have some kind of faith in something, which, okay, valid excuse, I suppose. But I mean, it was kind of crazy. Talking about that particular scene, just going right back to it, that's a question I have about this episode. Okay. Now, and I think I may have the answer for this, but I want to ask y'all what y'all think, okay? So, the son, Homelander's son,
Ryan,
I-beams Stormfront while she's choking out his mother, and then she turns him into basically Darth Vader. No legs, no arms, burnt, whatever.
Burnt, yeah.
Speaking German,
I got a theory about that.
When Homelander was using his heat vision on her, didn't affect her. She actually liked it. Now, my theory on this is he's a natural born suit, so maybe his is more powerful. But I don't know. That's my headcanon of why I've got to believe this, but I don't get why his fucked her up. I mean, bad. We don't know if she's dead yet, but it really messed her up. And Homelander's didn't. So, good. Give me a theory.
Couple of thoughts for that.
Okay.
First off, Homelander can control how much force he's using in his heat vision. So he, you noticed a couple times before he fully heat visioned her, he was really holding back, and she was and also she's prepared for it. She's she knows that, and she's not damaged. She was fully in full strength, where she's just gone through a major ass kicking, as Sarah said, girl power, and she's even missing an eye, so she's way worse for wear. So that would be mine. But the also thing that Greg said is the thing I've been thinking about as well. Maybe Ryan's heat vision is more powerful, and hopefully he'll be the one to take down Homelander. I thought the Saint Christopher thing at the end with Billy and Ryan was really nice little touch there.
Sorry.
Yeah, Greg, I just explained to you the reasons why.
I know.
Yeah,
No,
I agree too. I
think
think
now. Oh gosh.
say with Ron because he just can't control it, and he did,
Yeah.
basically out of raw emotion. Where Homelander, he even made the statement that said, I've had practice, I've learned how to control it, and like I said with Ron, when he just let it go, he just let it go. I mean, full force, full blast, full everything. It's almost kind of like a Cyclops, just no control over it at all. So, yeah, that was the one thing that I was like, because end of last episode, SCS episode, we were talking about like what would happen in the finale, who would be the main players, what would happen. I mean, I just knew Ryan would have some kind of, whether he would be the one that he would either be sacrificed or he would have some role to play in it. Whether, like I said, he was sacrificial lamb or I really wasn't expecting Pete Blast, but how satisfying was it to see, as in their words, that Nazi bitch get what she deserved.
Yeah. 100%.
So, I mean, it's just, it's like, there you go, lady. See how perfect you are now.
Did anyone look up what she was saying? Because I did.
Mm-mm.
And she basically told the story of a very nice day that her and Frederick took out their daughter, because we've seen a little bit of her daughter in the pictures, like an old version. And that's basically what she told the story. And I have a theory about Stormfront as well, of how I think she's coming back in season 3. I think she was one of the more popular characters. And Homelander even mentions that she's not dead; she's detained somewhere. Mm-hmm. And I think we met somebody in this season that's going to play a key role in her coming back. That Gecko fellow that Starlight was getting to steal the V. Mm-hmm. I think that he's basically their guinea pig. So I'm assuming they have whatever makes him regrow his limbs and all that. So I think that may be the way that it goes to get Stormfront back up and running.
That was going to be my next question: is she done?
And probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. Usually, evil like that you can't get rid of it. Right. Unfortunately.
And she's gone this long. I mean, what's a few other millennia for?
Yeah, 100 years already. It's like, what's
That's true. That's true. Oh gosh, what was the next question? Oh yeah.
But okay. How did you like Kamiko's laugh?
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I
got a little emotion out of her.
I watched a video on her channel today, and she talked, and I was completely shocked. Like, so shocked.
So, yeah, I kind of want to do that. I want to hear what she sounds like. I'm sure it's kind of weird. What'd y'all think about,
Greg, the cutest, bubbliest, sweetest little voice you ever did hear.
Really? Wow.
Oh my God. Come on, it fits her personality on set. I remember I shared with you all, like, when she was doing the move with the, taking her legs and putting the guy down and then pops back up, goes...
There's a really fun video of her and I can't remember the girl's name who played Starlight, Erin somebody.
Erin Moriarty.
Yeah. They make a martini. It's like 8 minutes long, but I clicked on it and I couldn't believe it when she was talking. I was just like, wow, blown away.
But that's the kind of person casting that, for most of the series has been morose, a lot of stuff to deal with, doesn't quote unquote speak. And then you get the bubbly personality in real life, fits.
Yeah.
There's that range.
I wanted to ask y'all, whenever the whole situation ended, where you see the scene with Ryan and Butcher sitting on the I guess the edge there before Brian gets picked up. Did y'all think that the next season was going to take Butcher raising Ryan?
No.
I did, and I don't know why. And then I saw that, I was like, he's going to turn him into authorities and let them control him? Like, that doesn't... You're just creating a new Homelander. Like, what the hell?
He's not a dad.
Mm-mm.
He's not, and that's... And I think it has a little to do with his fear of Soups, and the lack of trust, even though he promised his wife that she'd protect him, and this is the best way he can protect him, because, again, he can't stop doing what he does. Like, He can't play house. He's not there yet. I don't know if he'll ever be there yet.
Well, you got a view of his great family life, but you know how stand up of a guy his dad was. So
and maybe part of him is worried that he doesn't want to become his father.
And that's true too.
He also tells Becca that he doesn't want to, like, tells her to go on without him because he doesn't want to pass on his shit to the kid.
Yeah,
so, like,
exactly.
that backs up Chris's point.
Except for the C word, you gotta.
Yeah. Well,
That's what he tells the kid. And he gives him advice,
See,
Don't
that's
be one.
that's what I love about these shows. Like, this is something that Butcher says on the regular, but in Harley Quinn animated show, like Dr. Psycho says it once, and it's shocking and referenced like
Right.
for episodes after.
It's the Brit. They say it just like it's normal
Normal
language.
over there for him, yeah. Speaking of it,
Talk to some of the women over there. I don't think they agree, but
well, I'm sure no women do. Yeah. I wanted to ask y'all the situation with his dad.
Bloody yeah. Sorry, I just wanted to say that.
Was that the last episode? Was that the penultimate or the finale where his dad was there?
Penultimate.
Okay, well, I haven't talked with y'all about that yet. Like, that was crazy. Like, I don't see a point in that scene though, because there's no revelation, nothing changes. Like, it seemed like a pointless scene.
What, him and his father?
Yeah.
You find out that Lenny. You find out that Lenny killed himself. You find out that he basically made Butcher into what he is.
It's like a character development point, basically.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. The Lenny killing himself, I guess I can see that. But other than that, it just seemed like it was like, why is this even in here?
Well, now because it gives you more of an insight of why Butcher is, who he is and how he is and why he is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those things.
That also why he's fearful to be a dad.
Yeah.
Let's think. Oh yeah, Sarah, you were talking about girl power earlier. That scene, man. I thought Stormfront was done. Like with Stormfront not Stormfront, Starlight and Queen Maeve.
I was happy to see Maeve because that was a big thing because especially with Annie, not really a Starlight, but it's Annie going to ask her, and Maeve was pretty much, she's at a low point. She was just like, okay, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm over this. She's like, I just don't know what else I can do. What else do you want me to do? It's right. Everything's just basically ruined, because when she and Elena, that whole thing just blew up. Mm-hmm. But to see her show up to stand up to Stormfront and to back, in essence, Annie, Starlight, whomever, to kind of back them, and she realizes like, I maybe I do have more to offer. Maybe this isn't the the end. Maybe I do have a little more gas in the tank because I'm just tired. She's tired, but she's tired of that too. Right. It's not just the fact of where she is in life with Homelander always beating her down, but now it was her way of fighting back. So I was really, it's like I'm almost expected it, but I wasn't 100% sure because you saw that look on her face. So she's taking those drags off that cigarette like, should I, shouldn't I? Should I, shouldn't I? But so I was really excited. And then for them to just wail on Stormfront, I was like, yeah, lady, yeah. Mm-hmm. See how you like it now.
Beat the racism out of you.
Oh,
absolutely.
Gosh, yeah.
She's had out of you. Come on.
She's had to save of the episode, the last two episodes. Queen Maeve. Mm-hmm. I loved that when she showed up, and like Sarah said, it was awesome seeing them kick crap. I also love Kimiko laughing. Mm-hmm. Like, just started laughing, like, and let Frenchie tell her.
Well, I thought it was kind of interesting too, because when she did that, it was because she had asked Frenchie, or in essence, she's like, "What do I do if I see Stormfront? Am I going to freeze up again?" He's like, "Oh no, you got this. You'll be fine. You'll be fine."
I have one problem with that scene. One problem.
What's that?
And that's with Frenchie. Why would you look at Yui and sing out, "Let's get to the RPGs. It's our only hope"?
Oh yeah.
Why would you leave them in the car?
She immediately uses her powers and blows them up. Like, oh, I actually thought to myself, I was like, that's Frenchie. That's the dumbest thing you've ever done in this show. Like, get the RPGs. They're in the truck right there.
Right. Right over there, Stormfront.
Yeah. Just after she takes down Starlight and Kimiko, the two suits. Yeah, let me tell the one other human right out loud that the only thing we got to stop her is there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been something I would have been going for while she was fighting them. You know?
Yeah.
But once again, television show.
Maybe that's the playoff. Like the ladies beating down the other one. The guys are just standing there like.
They were pretty amazed by it. I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably sit there and watch it too. It'd be fun to watch. It was fun.
Maybe they're still dumbfounded.
Yeah. But let's think. What other points, man? Did this show? Oh yeah, let's talk about some Homelander, man. This guy's lost it, dude. Funny enough, my wife walked in to the end of the episode, and like she walks into work, and she comes in the room, she's putting everything down.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, it gets right to that scene. I can do whatever I want, and I was like, oh.
Does he really have to change his face so much too? Like his facial expressions, like chill out a little bit, dude. Chill out.
It's comic accurate. It happened in the comics. Legit happened in the comics.
That's
Well, it's
crazy.
ironic that he says that too, because he actually can't do whatever he wants right now because of Queen Maeve.
Yeah, and what do y'all think about that, by the way? Like, the way that she's kind of... I thought it was fitting that Maeve was the one who laid those standards out for what's going to happen in the future. But she's never... I guess she's willing to sacrifice herself. She's willing to be a martyr to take him down. Because if she releases that video, she's done too. You know?
Well, like I said, at that point, she's tired. She's like, I don't care. I don't care. If this will help if this would help somebody else, I'm willing to take it.
The difference is she don't care about everything that comes with being in the Seven and being a hero. Whereas we got the perfect example of Homelander. That's all he cares about. Like when he was given the choice, all you heard in his head was Homelander, home. People chanting for him. Like he's the biggest narcissist of all time.
Well, that's what Maeve said too. She's like, and that's what I can throw in your face. She's like, I can take this all away from you because I can take away, and they'll, people realize that you are the enemy. You're not the hero.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that she could really cut him to the quick.
Yeah.
Because of all the things he says he cares about, it's his image and how everybody loves him because that's what he's always starving for, always starving for that love and attention. And if you take that away, I mean, you just take away everything.
Yeah. Well, that's how you defeat a narcissist and a megalomaniac, with their own game. So, go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
I really liked Giancarlo Esposito's character, Mr. Edgar, this season. I think he has done a very good job of bringing life to this character, and just when you think you have something over on him, he's playing chess. You're playing checkers still. He's already thought 20 different moves ahead of you of where this is going to go, and then the different ways to get out of it, and to make things to his advantage. Like he knows, who Stormfront is, and that what she brings to it at that point. But he also knows how to control Homelander. He also, he can put the genie back in the bottle, at least as far as we've seen. I really hope, and I don't see why I really hope he does come back next season, because I think there's still more to his character, and I would like to get a little more backstory on him. But I mean, Giancarlo is just an amazing actor.
Yeah,
period, just outstanding. Everything he has ddone since way back when, in Do the Right Thing. It continues to just blow everything away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I'm pretty confident he came out a few weeks ago talking about like season 4 and season 5 of this show. So yeah, I think you might have to do a little bit of digging, but it is there somewhere. He did come out saying that, like in an interview, which like I couldn't agree with you more. I have a question for you because you know more about the Boys comic. Mm-hmm. Do you think we will see Black Noir again?
Mm-hmm.
And are you surprised that he isn't the deterrent for Homelander?
Yet.
Well, I'll say we don't know that yet. We still don't know that.
Don't tell Homelander's weakness, Dan.
Well,
Come on.
You could tell Black Noir Homelander's weakness. Being liked.
Being liked. It's definitely a deviation at that point.
Being liked. Sorry.
Oh, that's not his. Oh, I'm talking about like kryptonite stuff.
Oh, something that actually kill him. I got you.
Yeah.
It was a nice kind of humorous take. We got a little bit more of Black Noir, but it's almost like they've made him kind of a little bit of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one I would love to see a backstory of, to kind of know. And I think there's a reason why we haven't gotten a Black Noir kind of focused episode or backstory yet.
I hope so, man, because they did a little more with him in this season than they did last season, but I was really hoping for some more Black Noir because every time you see him, he is a badass.
Well, they opened up this season with him, and it was just like, oh, okay.
One time he wasn't a badass. When Compound V, it was let out this season that Compound V was given to kids, you weren't naturally a suit. Compound V existed. He sat down looking at the phone crying. And, so that's the one bit of emotion that he shows that isn't, Stone Cold Killer. But, Chris, I thought he was going to be the deterrent for Homelander. I thought he was basically a clone of Homelander, but after seeing this finale and Becca giving Butcher the St. Christopher pendant and then Butcher giving it to Ryan, is St. Christopher was this very I want to say saint, patron saint, that
I would hope St. Christopher was a saint.
had a I don't know if patron saint. Sorry, Mr. Pope there.
I think Chris is no longer one of the big saints anymore. Years ago, they told him to take his kid and his backpack and take the high road.
Yeah. Well, he has a kid that he did given to him that he doesn't know, and it ultimately turns out to be Jesus Christ. So, this is right there with Ryan, and I think Ryan will be the one to stop Homelander. I don't think we'll see it for a while, but I think he'll be the one to stop Homelander whenever that does happen.
Oh, Greg's mind just got blown.
No, I'm sorry. I'm watching the basketball game while I'm listening to y'all and while I'm talking and interacting. Just horrible calls. But anyway, the boys. Sorry.
A little longer.
Yeah.
Explain to me why how Ryan didn't how Ryan kills Stormfront, gets up and leaves. Explain this one. Zoned out watching basketball.
No, the boys this season. I think I have to agree with Travis. I really enjoyed last season. I'm more interested in it now, to the point where I almost want to go start buying the comics and reading the comics, which is what it's supposed to make you do. I feel like if it can make you want to read the source material, then I think they're doing a good job of telling the story. I don't know what liberties they've taken with the actual show and the source material. Chris, you're a better judge of that, but you're still watching it and loving it, so I'm assuming they're not doing it injustice.
No. It's again. I think it was in our group or Travis and mine's chat was that there's a line that the boys you understand is absurd and is meant to be absurd. Mm-hmm. However, you can't do a whole show you can't do the comic as you would the show because again it would never air on TV. It would never barely air on streaming at that point because if you do that, not only would it not air, but it becomes a parody of itself. So they have to. The absurd stuff is meant to be, oh my gosh, where are they going to go next? But also they related a lot of stuff that's going on in our lives in a quote unquote the real world to this show to make it work at that point, and that wasn't necessarily fully in the comics. So, and again, we said it earlier when we were talking about Invincible. Mm-hmm. That's what they need to do. They need to honor the source material to an extent, and then make it your own. It's a guide. It's not meant to be. We want a page to screen because again, that's what the comic's there for.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So. Not to say that sometimes a page to screen is not a bad idea. There's
it's not.
But I get what you're saying. Yeah, and it's funny you say that because I know this was written a long time ago. These stories. And did y'all catch the Green Lantern jab with the Homelander, where he's talking about his movies and he's talking about Brightest Night and Darkest Day? And I was like, I see what you did there. Opposed to Brightest Day and Blackest Night. I was like, oh, okay, I got you. No problem. But that was what this was originally meant to be, was a knock on DC Comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
there's lots of knocks in this season, too. They take so many shots at Donald Trump. They take the Congresswoman is complete ripoff of AOC. It's very, very timely too. The show is. It's
Right.
it's great.
Yeah, really well done, man. I'm really enjoying it. They've already been approved for season 3, right? And you like,
Oh yeah.
They have a very long shooting schedule. Like it'll start next year and it'll go basically through August.
Where do they shoot? Does anyone know?
no idea.
I'm assuming in your backyard, but
I thought it might be Toronto, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
so and with that they're shooting that late, I'm very skeptical we're going to get anything next year from the boys. I don't think we're going to see the boys next year.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I hope I do see when I see the boys again is I want to see this same weekly release, and I want to see this same show count. Because I think both of them worked out perfectly. You know, the season wasn't too long. They wrapped up everything they needed to. I like the fact that I had to wait. It's funny because I used to not like that. Like, it's one of those things, like, you hated it before, so now they're going to give it to you all at once. Now it's like, okay, it's kind of cool to have to wait a week for it, you know, to be able to see what happens next. But I hope they stick with that.
I think they will. You know, I really hope they just don't. And it didn't sound like they cared in the sense of the review bombing that happened. Because you look at the reviews, it's 3 stars. The show is not 3 stars.
What?
No.
3
Yeah,
stars
they
on what?
they review bombed it because they didn't like that it only dropped
It was weekly.
weekly, and that's they
Oh,
review bombed it so
gosh.
bad it's down to 3 stars.
Yeah.
So
that's stupid.
that's what happened. But I would say basically, like, you know what, you're either watching it or not. We don't care. We know the pedigree. We know the critics. We see the numbers. They're not going to let that just because 3 stars would be different if it's in its first season. Then they might be a little concerned. But yeah, I'm with you, Greg, and I think they even brought it up. The reason we didn't do it like we did last season because we saw what we had, and we want people that have a weekly conversation, a water cooler show, and enjoy it at that point. You know, I don't have a job where I can really make time to binge except for certain weekends, but even then I'll be staying up late probably 2 nights in a row trying to get it through. And that's, yeah, sometimes it's nice to do that, but it's not, I don't feel like I enjoy it.
Right.
No.
But, you know, and the best part about it is for people like us especially, that this gives me, 5-6 weeks worth of stuff to talk about as opposed to one big show talking about it. You know? And, you know, and I agree with you 100%, man. I can't binge. I can binge, but I can't watch 8 episodes in one day. There's no days that I have available, even on my days off, that I have available to watch 8.5, 9 hours of content just to be able to talk about it. But I can put aside an hour a day.
Get rid of the wife and the kids, and
Well,
sure, I can do that.
That's a good idea. I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Yeah.
Or the husband and the kids, Sarah.
Not gonna lie, Greg, I polished off several Marvel Netflix shows in one sitting. Not super proud of that, but 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Daredevil season 1
Hey.
was start to finish without getting up off the couch.
I binged the hell out of Umbrella Academy, so I can't say too much.
Yeah, and usually I can watch about. I can find time to set aside about 3.5, 4 hours of watching of something, and that's not including like when I go to bed at night. Because like a lot of times, like me and my wife just binge watch that show Hell on Wheels. I don't know if y'all seen that or not.
Heard about it, never seen it.
Amazing show. Amazing show. It's a AMC show about the building of the railroads. Somewhat historically accurate, but of course it's a TV show, so they add a little bit of stuff into it to make it a little more dramatic. Really amazing show, and it's like 5 seasons with like 20 episodes a season, and they're an hour long. And it took us like 4 weeks to binge that. Because me and my wife will do that. We'll pick one show, and we'll binge that show for the next few weeks. So, like, after I'm done with this podcast, I'll probably go watch a couple hours of that laying down in bed with her or whatever. But just being able to set aside that much time for me, it's just impossible, man. I like this weekly schedule better. You know?
I like the weekly schedule better just for talking about it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
is it when Zack Snyder's Justice League drops? Are you kidding me? We're going to get 4 episodes of talking about each episode that drops, and then we're going to have a 5th episode where we all talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Then we're gonna sit there and do a watch along of the 4-hour supercut.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm definitely doing a watch along of the 4-hour supercut. I'll do it by my damn self. Don't bother me. But I'm sure
And you're gonna
I'm
be
sure
like
Nathan
Zach
will
saying,
wanna
"You
do it.
see those guys? Yeah, fine." totally fine.
I figure if I do a 4-hour
They're just
watch
taking a nap.
along on Sunday morning at starting at 8 o'clock here, I can be done by 12:30 in time to watch football. So yeah, that's what's gonna happen for me.
Watch the Panthers lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, 2-game win streak. Just saying.
Hey, I'm a Panthers fan too, in the sense it's
We
just
got them
like
birds
it's just
this week.
hard.
We got
Just
them.
hard.
We got them.
Yeah.
We got them birds.
No, we definitely need to win this week. Oh my goodness gracious.
No thanks. You're hating, Greg. No thanks. You're hating.
Hey, I do hate, but once again, I'm realistic, and I told I told everybody, I was like, if they do well, then I'll eat crow, and I'll be happy
love
they
it.
did well. I just don't see it.
I love it. I love it.
I personally just want to see them saying, we have these good streaks where we do win, and then it's the last half of the season that we just lose everything and forget saying, we actually. It's like the Buffalo Bills. If they could end the season during the regular season, not do the playoffs, and crown them the Super Bowl champs, yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's like the mountain climber Price is Right game. Like you keep going up and you're doing really well, and then you just go too far and you're gone.
Yeah.
Greg, what's happening?
Lakers are down 2 with 2.5 minutes left, and LeBron just got fouled. He's going to the line.
Greg, you got to watch your facial expressions because I'm saying something wrong or I'm screaming.
Yeah, I was going to say, y'all ignore any hand gestures I make or any facial expressions I make. Yeah.
Oh, one thing I want to say to the two Star Trek fans, I watched the first 3 episodes of Lower Deck today.
I was impressed with that. When you told me that, I was like, oh, yeah.
It's basically Star Trek meets Rick and Morty meets maybe a little Family Guy because it's an ensemble cast type deal, but it is like it seems like there's only 3 episodes in. It seems like it's still trying to find its voice, but I'm really enjoying all the individual characters. Yeah. So of the Lower Deck, love it. So
after the 3rd episode, it finds its footing. It finds its footing very quickly. But one of the showrunners is from Rick and Morty, so that's why.
Yeah, I got the feeling of that, and it's better. Like Harley Quinn, I found it felt like 8, 9, maybe 10 episodes before it really felt like it knew what it was, maybe even till the end of the season. Like season 2, the entirety of the season was like it. But sometimes it takes a little while for shows to get hit the ball running.
Yeah.
Still enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I'm starting to become a Trekkie, I guess. So
I always watched Star Trek, but never sat down and watched season. But it was always on TV. I watched a lot of Next Generation and the original Star Trek.
Right.
Really appreciate it. You got to do some Deep Space Nine.
Oh yeah.
See some of that, but not a lot.
DS9, huh? Is that what they call it?
That's the one thing. One thing I do enjoy about Star Trek is you can, if you're not even a big fan of it, you can just jump into one episode and you can still kind of get it. I know there's inter-character dynamics that you won't know 100%, but you can just follow along the story. I think with almost any Star Trek show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because each episode has its own storyline, but yet it does have a continuation throughout the season. So that's always fun.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Well, do y'all have anything else you want to say about the boys? We've wrapped it up. Season 2 has been amazing. I'm more impressed. I'm ready to. I'm ready.
Anybody
to
have any ideas for season 3?
I have no idea. I mean, Chris, you're a reader of the comics. Do you have any idea where they might be going?
I mean, I have tons of different ideas where they can go. I just don't know which one they're going to kind of focus on.
I think we know one at the end there. We're kind of led right in. Yui going to work for the evil politician.
I think obviously we're going to have some major fallout of all the revelations from this season. I think that's going to be a big part of. I think there's probably going to be a time jump. I think that the show needs a time jump because I think we didn't have too big of a time jump after this one. I can't even think of was it a couple of months, if that.
Yeah, it was very, very. I mean, you could have watched the 2 seasons together and thought of them as one.
Yeah, one
One
continuation.
DCCW season.
So
it would help Ryan.
Yeah.
Grow a bit too, right?
Yeah, and so I think you have a time jump. We'll see how Huey and Starlight navigate their relationship. I'm glad they continued. I'm glad it wasn't one of those thing. I need to find myself. It's dude.
When I heard that, I was like, when I first saw that, I was like, Huey, seriously, after all this, you're gonna tell her you don't want to be with her? I was like, dude, you're a moron.
And then you're like, oh, thank
like,
God.
oh, no,
He was
no,
like,
no.
I'm not an idiot. I'm definitely clinging to you. I was like, thank gosh he said that, you know? Like, thank goodness he said that, because I would have personally kicked his ass.
Yeah, and we got Butcher going off and obviously not saying he's going to work for them, but this is where he's going to, and it'll be interesting to see where the other characters, how he gets them back.
That's one of those cool guys walk away from explosions moments, you know? Like when he walks away, puts the sunglasses on, I was waiting for something to explode in the background. Be like, yeah, he's definitely part of that crew.
And he just needs to say something punny, cliche-like, and then you get the scream in the background and you cue the CSI Miami.
Yeah. Well, what do y'all think? Last point on this for me, at least. Y'all can bring everything else you want to. What do y'all think about Huey working for the governor now, or working for is she a senator, governor? I don't know what she is. Congresswoman. She blows people's heads up. What do you think about him asking her for a job?
It fits.
Yeah, he's just he don't want to be clingy. You don't want to depend on the boys all the time. I think it's perfect, and it also sets it up. Like I said, it sets it up for season 3. Sets us up for season 3 as well. I'll be interested to see if they do time jump, how far ahead they go.
And remember, we get Soldier Boy.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
We get Soldier Boy. Okay. Well, I think actually him, like I said, him working with her is perfect because now he can not work with them and still be involved in everything. That's their inside guy now.
He also has been always a big thing is I want to do things the right way, and so this is him continuing that trend. It's like I want to be involved on who I think is doing the right thing.
Right. Right.
And I don't think the church is gone. I think the church is still there. It's going to continue.
Do you think that maybe the Deep?
Let him take it over.
Takes over? What's going on? Like
he could very well, Greg, because the guy basically kicked him out, but he never got a chance to tell anybody that Deep was kicked out because his head exploded.
Yeah. Oh, I love Mr. Edgar when offered. Would you like Fresca? Absolutely not.
That stuff's
horrifying
shit.
Drink.
That's shit.
Same thing that.
And then what does the Deep say about it?
That Fresca sucks or something like that.
Fresca does suck. Golly, I was a kid of the '90s. Fresca does suck.
Grapefruit soda, baby.
Oh,
yes,
gosh.
exactly.
Oh. And I remember people used to love it. I don't get why, but whatever. So, well, all right, y'all. Well, if you got nothing else to say about the boys, I think that pretty much wraps up the show for tonight. Any other points you want to put out there?
I got points. Whether they make any sense or not is just,
I hear you. Well, I'll say if you want to put them out there, man, go ahead.
No,
I'm good for no sense. You know me.
Well, all right. Any squirrels.
I hear you. Well, in that case, Chris, where can they find you at, buddy?
You can find me on Twitter at Chris Balga. And Greg's very excited right now.
I am very excited.
Those of you.
Up by 121 seconds left. Sorry.
You're like 20 seconds behind, dude.
I know. Did they win?
No, it's not.
Okay. I am 20 seconds behind because I'm watching on my computer. We're good. Sorry, Chris.
No, you're fine. You can find me at Chris Balga. I've got World's Finest True Believers on Monday at Finest Believers. This week will be a retro with our buddy Resident Daryl. We're going back to his first episode when he came on, and probably the longest show on World's Finest True Believers, almost going on 2 hours, looking at X-Men Executioner's Song.
Nice.
So going back to that. That was actually our first Marvel episode. So we did it justice.
Cool deal.
And then got Marvel Alliance on Wednesdays. We've got Brenda's coming back. Travis is still on the sidelines at work, but we'll be talking about the big news of Doctor Strange is coming to Spider-Man 3. Can't go home again. Homesick.
Contractually obligated, right?
Homeward bound.
One more. Good God, no. Dear God, no.
Disney already has a movie called Homeward Bound. They can't name the new Spider-Man movie Homeward Bound. Sorry.
God help us all.
It's a great movie, by the
one
way.
more day. God help us all.
Yeah.
So, but yep, coming on back on Wednesday.
All right. Well, y'all check him out. Follow him. Give him a listen. He's got some great stuff to hear. Chris, I love everything you do, man. It's awesome stuff. Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at MyLadyKitten. I just kind of bat around a little bit. Just if you want to chat, I'm up for it. Especially all things Star Trek. I'm all about it. So I'm really excited about that. So that's pretty much about it. And this is about the only place you can find me. But also avid Panther fan as well. So you might catch me on another little podcast that Greg knows about. So, but other than that, keep pounding and beat those dirty birds.
Keep pounding and beat those dirty birds. It sounds so raunchy. I love it though. But hey, seriously, Sarah, you're part of the show. We always love having you on, and I think, and I don't know about y'all, but I'm gonna start pushing for this now. We should have a Star Trek show on this network. And I think that if we're going to have a Star Trek show on this network, I think Sarah should head it up. And I'm going to start pushing for that because I would listen to it. I might even like to guest on it at some point in time. So here we go. Fans, put it out there. Let them know you want to hear Sarah Taylor on a Star Trek show on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. It's going to happen. Here we go. T-Bone, where can they find you at, brother?
You can find me on Twitter at Travis_156. You can drop me a line. We can chat about pretty much anything. 2 shows, both of them with Greg, DC Alliance, and Superhero Discussions. We're doing retro episodes, stealing a move from Chris's playbook, and putting out episodes before I was part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance. 4 episodes reviewing 4 seasons of Spider-Man the Animated Series, top 5 episodes of each season, joined by Greg himself. The only guest of Superhero Discussions up to that point.
There you go. Really fun times, too. And folks, anybody who's listening to those shows, we would love to hear your feedback on what we sounded like then and what we sound like now. Because we still got to record Season 5. It's going to be a little bit different sounding, but, man, do we have a good time doing that stuff. And, dude, I can't tell you how excited I was when you asked me to come on the show and do that back then. And I had no idea, like you were saying earlier, where that was going to lead to, what Superhero Discussion was going to be. So happy with where it's at now. Can't wait to watch Season 5 of Spider-Man the Animated Series and continue talking animated stuff with you, buddy. And, hey, we may have to watch this Invincible series and cover it.
I'm 100% one.
And cover it on Superhero Discussion.
Hey?
Well, I mean,
I think you better write that one down.
We're definitely going to watch it. I mean, we may have to cover it on Superhero Discussion because it looks good.
Right. Every animated superhero show will be covered eventually.
He just committed me to a 20-year contract, y'all. There we go. 20-year contract. We're gonna cover it. It only took us 18 weeks to cover one show. So yeah, let's do it.
There was a couple of special episodes in there where there was movies instead of. So I think 16 it was.
Still a lot.
Were there any very special episodes? Like after school specials?
All of our shows are very special episodes.
There was a Flashpoint that I wasn't even a part of. So that was a special episode.
Yeah. And what else was the other one? I think that was it, right? Flashpoint and
Superman, Man of Tomorrow.
Man of Tomorrow, that's right.
And then our DCAU retrospective.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, we've had a lot. Was that super discussions that we did that on?
Yeah, I guess.
Patreon, Superhero Discussion.
Sort of a special thing, but animated, so.
There we go. A very special episode. We learned a lot. Greg's not happy.
No.
Greg, that's why I was laughing and pointing at you 20 seconds ago. Your face right now is why. Yeah. I knew it was coming, man.
It's all right. They got to win 2 more games to make anything happen.
I just like that you go to bed tonight, and
I'm going to take a few shots now. LeBron James just put up 40-something points, put up a crazy triple-double, and he didn't win.
And
just saying, if Michael Jordan ever did that and he didn't win, everybody's like, oh, it's not his fault. But everybody's going to blame LeBron for this. But anyway, I'll stop talking sports. Folks, thank y'all very much. We've done our plugs. Check out the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. Like it. Share it. Tell your friends about it. Give us a review. Interact with the show. Anything you can do to be involved. We love having fan interaction. We love having fans on the show. If you've never podcasted before, if you have podcasted before and you want to talk about a show, hit me up. We'll talk about something. It's always fun. Or hit any of these people up. They're part of the show, too. They'll let me know. We'll get it going. But either way, y'all keep pounding. I'm going to go drink myself into a good night's sleep based on what happened just now. But there will be another night.
Go
Sunday.
Jordan.
That's right. Sunday when we record, I'll be celebrating. So
there you go, Chris. All
right, y'all. Keep pounding. Later, y'all.
Later.
Bye, guys.
In stream. Yes.